Before kings built empires of stone, the wise built kingdoms within. They understood a truth that has been whispered through the ages, a current that runs deeper than the flow of gold or the trade of nations. They knew that the outer world, with all its abundance and all its scarcity, is but a mirror, a reflection cast by the light and shadow of the inner world. This understanding was their wealth. It was a secret, not of commerce, but of consciousness, and that secret has waited patiently for those tired of building empires of stone, for those ready to discover the kingdom within. What if the formula for richness that you have been seeking, the one you believed was hidden in a strategy, a stock, or a striving for more, was never outside of you to begin with? What if wealth is not something you acquire, but a state of being you return to? What if it is not a destination to be reached, but a resonance to be felt, a frequency to be embodied? This is a journey into that frequency. It is an exploration of a formula not written on parchment, but encoded into the very fabric of your awareness. We will not speak of markets, but of mindsets. We will not analyze trends, but truths. This is for the part of you that has achieved and yet feels empty, for the part of you that has strived and now feels a quiet exhaustion. It is for the silent hum of anxiety that asks, is this all there is? It is for the seeker who has looked everywhere for the key, only to find that the door was never locked. Over the course of our time together, we will dismantle the architecture of lack that has been built within the mind. We will walk through the halls of ancient thought, not as scholars, but as inheritors of a profound and simple power, to reshape your reality not by force, but by focus, to attract abundance not by chasing it, but by becoming it. This is not about doing more, it is about being more, more of who you truly are, beneath the layers of conditioning and belief. This is an invitation to stop, to breathe, and to listen to the stillness where all true creation begins. The journey begins not by taking a step forward, but by turning your gaze completely and irrevocably inward. We begin by examining the foundation upon which the modern world has built its temple of happiness. It is a foundation of a single word, a relentless promise whispered from every screen, every advertisement, every measure of success. That word is more. More achievement, more recognition, more speed, more connections, more things. We have been taught to believe that the path to a rich life is a path of accumulation. We see our lives as empty vessels that must be filled, and so we dedicate our days to the frantic gathering of everything we believe will finally make us whole. We are told this is the pursuit of wealth, the pursuit of success, the pursuit of happiness. But if you listen closely, beneath the noise of the chase, you will hear a different sound. It is the sound of a golden wheel, spinning endlessly. And on that wheel, a figure runs, breathlessly, its eyes fixed on the rung just ahead, believing it to be the final one. This figure is us. This is the gilded cage of more. It is the most beautiful, most seductive, and most treacherous prison ever conceived, because it is a prison we build for ourselves. Its bars are not made of iron, but of our own desires. Its lock is not a physical mechanism, but a belief system we have inherited and accepted without question. The belief that salvation lies in the next acquisition, the next promotion, the next milestone, the next number in a bank account. And so we run. The wheel spins, gleaming under the lights of our ambition. It feels like progress. The motion, the speed, the blur of the world around us creates the illusion of momentum, of getting somewhere. But the scenery never truly changes. The destination, that elusive state of perfect contentment, remains always on the horizon, a painted backdrop we can never reach. It is a horizon that moves as we move. The moment we conquer one hill, our eyes are already scanning for the next, higher peak, because the satisfaction of arrival is fleeting, a mist that burns away in the morning sun of a new desire. Consider the cost of this race. The true currency of life is not money, it is not power, it is presence. It is the finite number of heartbeats, of sunrises, of moments of connection we are granted. And every moment our mind spends on the wheel, every ounce of energy we pour into chasing the what's next, is a moment stolen from the what is. It is a quiet treason against the present moment. We live in a state of perpetual deferment, a promissory note written to a future self who, we believe, will finally have earned the right to be peaceful, to be joyful, to be still. But that self never arrives, because the habit of running, once ingrained, becomes our identity. We become the chase. We forget how to simply be. The price of living in the gilded cage is life itself. It is the richness of a simple conversation, lost because our mind is elsewhere, calculating the next move. It is the profound peace of a sunset, unseen because we are looking at a screen, checking our progress against others. It is the spontaneous joy of a child's laughter, unheard over the din of our own internal striving. How do you know if you are in the cage? The signs are subtle, woven into the fabric of our daily experience. It begins with a kind of numbness. The things that once brought simple pleasure begin to lose their flavor. Joy becomes a concept rather than a felt experience. It requires a larger and larger stimulus to feel anything. A small success feels like nothing. Only a monumental victory provides a flicker of feeling, and even that dies out quickly. You find yourself needing more intensity, more drama, more luxury, just to feel alive. Because the baseline of your existence has become a flat line of quiet desperation. Then comes the poison of comparison. The gilded cage has mirrors for walls, and in them we see not ourselves, but curated, edited versions of everyone else. We scroll through the highlight reels of others, and we measure our ordinary, messy, beautiful reality against their staged perfection. The wheel spins faster. We believe we are falling behind. The sense of lack deepens, not because we don't have enough, but because someone else appears to have more. It is a game with no winners, designed only to perpetuate the running. Listen to the language you use, both internally and externally. Is it a language of fullness or a language of lack? The anthem of the gilded cage is the phrase, "I will be happy when." I will be happy when I get the house, when I find the partner, when I lose the weight, when I secure the retirement fund. Each when is another bar in the cage. It reinforces the fundamental lie that happiness is not available to you now, that you are somehow incomplete, unworthy of peace until an external condition is met. This language creates a chasm between you and the present moment, and you spend your entire life trying to build a bridge across it, not realizing you could simply decide to be on the other side. This constant striving creates a low-grade, persistent hum of anxiety. It is the fear of failure, the fear of missing out, the fear of being seen as ordinary. It is the engine that keeps the wheel turning. We are so afraid of what might happen if we stop that we never dare to try. Why do we remain in a cage, even when we begin to sense the bars? Because the cage is familiar. The running is a purpose. It gives us a direction, a simple, measurable goal. To stop running is to be confronted with the terrifying, expansive void of freedom. To stop running is to face the questions we have been running from. Who am I, without my titles, my possessions, my achievements? What is my value if it is not measured by my productivity? What do I truly want, if not what I have been told to want? The frantic activity of the chase is the perfect distraction from this essential existential inquiry. In a strange way, the cage feels safe. Its defined path protects us from the uncertainty of an open field, and so we choose the predictable exhaustion of the wheel over the unpredictable challenge of true self-discovery. We have been hypnotized by a collective agreement that this is the only way to live. We look around, we see everyone else running, and we assume it is the correct thing to do. The conventional rich man, the one our society holds up as the pinnacle of success, is often the one on the most ornate, most gilded wheel, spinning the fastest, going nowhere with incredible speed and efficiency. He has not found wealth. He has perfected the art of the chase. The secret to dismantling the cage is not to build a better one. It is not to trade a golden wheel for a platinum one. The answer is blasphemously simple. You just stop, you slow down, and you step off the wheel. Imagine it now. The momentum falters. The smooth hum is replaced by a jarring silence. For a moment, there is panic, disorientation. The runner's legs twitch, wanting the familiar rhythm of the struggle. But then, you stand still. You feel the solid ground beneath your feet for the first time. You take a breath, not a shallow, panting breath of exertion, but a deep, nourishing breath that fills your entire being. And you look around. You notice the light. You notice the space. You notice that the cage has no ceiling. It never did. You realize that the door has been wide open, always. There was no lock. The only thing keeping you inside was your unwavering focus on the next rung of the wheel. This is the great awakening, the realization that all the effort, all the striving, all the breathless pursuit was a game you were playing with yourself. Stepping off the wheel is not an act of surrender or failure. It is an act of profound courage and wisdom. It is the moment you reclaim your life from the tyranny of more. This does not mean you must renounce the world, live in a cave, and abandon all material comfort. It means you change the source of your actions. You no longer create from a place of desperate, clawing lack. You begin to create from a place of quiet, centered fullness. You build your life not as a frantic attempt to fill a void, but as a joyful expression of the abundance you have discovered within. The journey to true wealth does not begin with the first step of a race. It begins with the moment you decide to stand still. It is in this stillness that the illusion of the gilded cage dissolves, and you are left with the simple, profound, and unshakable richness of the present moment. From here, a new journey can begin. Not a journey of chasing, but of unveiling. Not of acquiring, but of aligning. It is a journey into the only currency that has ever truly mattered. Having stepped away from the hypnotic spin of the gilded wheel, you find yourself in a new space, a quiet space. For the first time, perhaps in years, there is a pause. In this pause, a fundamental question arises. If I am not running, what am I to do? If my life is not defined by the next acquisition, how is it to be defined? Here, we move from deconstruction to creation. We leave behind the illusion of the cage and turn our attention to the tool with which all realities are built. We must speak now of the most ancient, the most potent, and the most misunderstood form of wealth in the universe. It is the one resource you have in absolute abundance, yet you may be living as though you are impoverished in it. It is the primal energy from which all experiences, all things, and all circumstances are born. We are speaking of the currency of consciousness. Before there was gold, before there were coins, before there was any form of barter or trade, there was this currency, your attention. Where you place your attention is where you invest your life force. It is the one true capital you possess. Think of your awareness not as a passive observer, but as an active, creative force. Imagine it as a singular, powerful beam of light in an infinite darkness filled with dormant possibilities. The darkness holds everything. It holds joy and sorrow, success and failure, sickness and health, lack and abundance. These are not yet real. They are simply potentials, like countless seeds scattered in the fertile soil of the quantum field. They lie dormant, waiting. Your focused attention is the sun and the water. Whatever you choose to shine your light upon, you command to grow. You are not merely witnessing reality, you are participating in its very conception. You are a mint. With every moment of sustained focus, you are printing the money of experience and building the architecture of your life. This is a staggering power, and for most, it is a power that is unconsciously abdicated every single day. We allow this priceless currency to be spent haphazardly, stolen by every passing whim, every manufactured crisis, every digital distraction. We have become poor managers of our one infinite resource. Consider an audit of your own consciousness. Where has your capital been invested today? How much of it was spent on the ghost of yesterday? Regret is the act of pouring your life-giving attention onto soil that is no longer fertile. You are watering the dead plants of the past, trying to coax life from events that are finished, solidified, and gone. Every unit of energy you invest in replaying old hurts, old mistakes, old conversations is a unit of energy stolen from the present moment, stolen from the seed of the future you wish to cultivate. The past is a library for reference, not a home for residence. To constantly live there is to declare a form of psychic bankruptcy. Then, how much of your currency was spent on a future that does not exist? We call this worry. But worry is not a passive state. It is an active form of meditation. It is the act of using your powerful, creative imagination to build, in meticulous detail, a future that you do not want. You are taking your beam of light, your sacred creative power, and you are shining it brightly on the seed of fear, the seed of catastrophe, the seed of failure. You are praying for what you do not want. The universe, in its impersonal, impartial wisdom, does not judge the content of your focus. It only answers to the intensity and consistency of it. It feels the energy of your attention and says, yes. It is a loyal servant that brings you more of whatever you are focused upon. To spend your days worrying is to be the architect of your own anxieties, to diligently build the very prison from which you long to escape. Perhaps the greatest theft of your currency in the modern age is distraction. The world is a vast marketplace, and the commodity being traded is your attention. Every notification, every headline, every endless scroll is a small transaction where you give away your creative power for a fleeting hit of information or stimulation. You are having your psychic pockets picked at every turn. Your focus becomes fragmented, scattered, and weak. Your powerful beam of light is shattered into 1,000 tiny, ineffective shards, unable to bring anything to fruition. A scattered consciousness creates a scattered life. An interrupted focus creates an interrupted flow of well-being. To reclaim your wealth, you must first reclaim your attention from the 1,000 thieves that vie for it. This requires a conscious and deliberate act. It is the first step in becoming a master of your reality, rather than a servant to its whims. So how do we begin? We begin by understanding the metaphor of the light and the seed. Your mind is a garden. This garden has been planted with seeds from your upbringing, your culture, your experiences. Some are seeds of magnificent flowers, love, courage, abundance, peace. Others are seeds of invasive weeds, unworthiness, fear, scarcity, resentment. For years, you have been watering them all indiscriminately. The act of becoming wealthy, in the truest sense, is the act of becoming a conscious gardener. You must choose, deliberately, which seeds you will nourish with your attention. This is the practice. When you wake, before the world has a chance to steal your currency, you decide your budget for the day. You declare, today, my attention is my own. I will invest it in the feeling of peace. I will shine my light upon the seed of gratitude. I will water the possibility of solutions, not the reality of problems. I will spend my consciousness on the feeling of my desire already fulfilled. This is not wishful thinking. This is a strategic allocation of your creative capital. Then, throughout your day, you practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is not a complex, esoteric ritual. It is simply the act of noticing where your attention has gone. As you work, as you walk, as you talk, you become the silent watcher. You notice when the beam of your attention has wandered into the past or into a worried future. And without judgment, without anger, you gently but firmly bring it back. You reclaim it. Each time you notice your mind spiraling into a story of lack, and you consciously shift your focus to the feeling of having enough, right now, in this moment, you have performed an act of immense power. You have withdrawn your investment from the account of poverty and deposited it into the account of abundance. This is the work. It is the only work that truly matters. It is not about fighting the negative thoughts. You cannot destroy the seeds of the weeds. They are part of the garden. To fight them is to give them your attention, which only makes them stronger. You do not fight the darkness. You turn on the light. You simply withdraw your nourishment from the weeds of scarcity and pour all of it, all of your warmth, all of your focus, onto the flowers of abundance. You starve the one and you feed the other. In time, the flowers grow so strong, so vibrant, so lush that they consume the light and the space, and the weeds naturally wither in their shade. Your inner world transforms, not through battle, but through a dedicated and loving cultivation. As you practice this, something miraculous begins to happen. The investment begins to yield compounding interest. A state of being, nourished by consistent attention, develops its own gravity. At first, it takes great effort to hold your focus on peace when you are surrounded by chaos. But as you persist, the feeling of peace begins to grow. It becomes a resonant field around you, and this field begins to influence the world outside. You will notice that your state of peace starts to calm situations around you. Your consistent focus on the feeling of abundance begins to draw opportunities and ideas to you that you were previously blind to. This is the law. Like attracts like. Your inner state, your primary vibration, is a magnetic force that rearranges reality around it. The world does not happen to you. It happens from you. It is an echo of the song you are singing inside. The richest person on earth is not the one with the most money, but the one who has achieved absolute sovereignty over their own attention. They are the conscious gardener, the master investor, the one who knows that the entire universe is simply waiting for them to decide where to shine their light. You are not poor in resource. You are infinitely wealthy in consciousness. The kingdom you seek is not made of gold, but of awareness, and you are its sole sovereign. It is time to reclaim your throne. You have reclaimed your attention from the thieves of yesterday and tomorrow. You have brought the priceless currency of your consciousness back from the scattered marketplace of distraction, and you hold it now, in this present moment. But what do you do with it? Where do you invest it to yield the return of a rich and abundant life? The great error is to believe that the next step is to immediately think harder, to plan more diligently, to force a solution. This is the old reflex of the runner on the wheel. It is the belief that answers are found in the noise of frantic mental activity. But the secret, the one that sages have guarded and mystics have embodied for millennia, is precisely the opposite. The answers are not in the noise. The answers are in the silence that the noise conceals. We must now speak of the space between your thoughts. We must speak of the stillness that speaks. Imagine your mind is a deep lake. For most of your life, a storm has been raging on its surface. The winds of anxiety have whipped the water into a frenzy. The rains of incessant worry have pounded down, and the undercurrents of desire and fear have churned up the mud and sediment from the bottom. When you look into this agitated lake, what can you see? You see nothing but a distorted, chaotic reflection of the storm above. You see your own fragmented image, broken by the waves. You cannot see into the depths. The water is murky, opaque, and turbulent. You are convinced that the lake is the storm. You believe that this state of confusion and inner noise is the very nature of your mind. And so, standing on the shore, you try to solve the problem of the storm by analyzing the shape of the waves, by counting the raindrops, by trying to shout commands at the wind. It is an exhausting and utterly fruitless endeavor. The formula of the wise is not to fight the storm. The formula is to allow the storm to pass. It is to find a quiet cove, a sheltered space within, and to simply wait. This waiting is not a passive, helpless state. It is an active, conscious choice. It is the choice of stillness. To become still is to allow the winds of anxiety to blow themselves out. It is to let the rains of worry fall without resistance. It is to cease the inner struggle that churns the waters. And as you practice this inner quietude, something magical occurs. The winds calm. The surface of the lake, no longer troubled, begins to smooth out. And the sediment, the millions of frantic, confused thoughts, having nothing to sustain their agitation, slowly, gently, begin to drift down to the bottom. The water begins to clear. First, you can see a few inches down, then a few feet. Then, as the stillness deepens, the water becomes crystal clear, and for the first time, you can see all the way to the very bottom of the lake. And what is there, on the floor of your mind, that was previously hidden by the storm? You find the treasures you have been seeking in the outside world. You find clarity. A problem that seemed like an impossible, tangled knot when you were wrestling with it in your thoughts now appears simple. Its solution is laid bare, obvious and elegant. It was there all along, but you could not see it through the murky water. You find creativity. In the stillness, a new idea floats up from the depths, perfectly formed. A line of poetry, a melody, an innovative solution to a business challenge, a path to reconciliation in a relationship. All true creation emerges not from the grinding of mental gears, but from the silent, fertile void. It is why we so often get our best ideas in the shower, on a long walk, or in the moments just before sleep, in those precious times when we have inadvertently allowed the storm of our conscious mind to subside. Most profoundly, in the depths of the still lake, you hear a voice. It is not a loud, booming voice. The universe does not shout, it whispers. This voice is your intuition. It is that quiet, instantaneous knowing that comes before the loud, analytical mind jumps in with its chorus of doubts, its list of pros and cons, its risk assessments based on the past. Your intuition is the voice of your deeper self, the part of you that is connected to a larger intelligence. It speaks in the language of feeling, of a gentle nudge, of a sudden sense of rightness. To learn to trust this voice is to align yourself with the flow of the cosmos. It is to have a compass that always points toward your true north, toward your highest good. In the noise of the mind, this whisper is inaudible. In the stillness, it becomes your most trusted guide. So how do we cultivate this stillness? How do we invite the storm to pass? We do not do it through force. You cannot command the waters to be still. You can only create the conditions for stillness to arise. Your anchor in this practice is your breath. Your breath is the rhythm of the universe moving through you. It is always in the present moment. It is never in yesterday or tomorrow. To simply bring your attention to the feeling of the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then gently leaving again, is to bring your entire being back to the sanctuary of the now. You do not need to change your breath, only to observe it. Each conscious breath is an act of letting go, an invitation for the sediment to settle. As you rest in the breath, you will notice the thoughts. They will arise. This is the nature of the mind. The great mistake is to believe that you are your thoughts. The practice of stillness is to learn to see your thoughts as clouds passing in the vast open sky of your awareness. You are not the clouds. You are the sky. You are the spaciousness in which the clouds appear and disappear. You do not cling to them. You do not fight them. You do not judge them. You simply notice them. Ah, there is a thought of worry. There is a thought of planning. There is a memory. By observing them without attachment, you rob them of their power. They no longer churn the waters of your lake. They become like leaves, floating gently on a perfectly still surface. If you find this difficult, use your senses to anchor you further. Close your eyes and simply listen. What do you hear? Do not label the sounds, just receive them as pure vibration. The distant hum of traffic, the chirp of a bird, the sound of your own heartbeat. Feel the sensation of the chair supporting you, the feeling of the air on your skin. By pouring your attention into your senses, you draw that priceless currency away from the overthinking mind and ground it in the reality of the present. Create small sanctuaries of silence in your day. When you wake, give yourself 5 minutes of stillness before you reach for your phone and invite the storm of the world into your mind. When you get in your car, pause for a minute of silence before you turn on the engine. These small, deliberate acts are powerful forms of training. You are teaching your nervous system that stillness is safe, that silence is a source of strength. We must acknowledge why we resist this. We fear stillness because in the silence, we are forced to feel what our noise has helped us to suppress. The unresolved grief, the quiet ache of loneliness, the deep-seated fear of not being enough. The constant mental chatter, the endless busyness, is a powerful anesthetic. We prefer the familiar pain of the storm to the unknown terror of what might lie at the bottom of the lake. But here is the truth. Those feelings are not monsters waiting to devour you. They are wounded parts of you, waiting to be seen and healed. They are treasures too, buried in the mud. When the waters clear, and you can finally see them in the gentle light of your non-judgmental awareness, they lose their terrifying charge. You can acknowledge them, feel them, and let them go. The stillness is not a place of peril. It is the ultimate healing chamber. In a world that is addicted to noise, a world that equates speed with progress and busyness with worth, the choice to cultivate stillness is a revolutionary act. It is the ultimate power move. It is reclaiming your mind from the collective hypnosis. The person who can access a state of inner stillness amidst the chaos of the world is the one who will have access to superior solutions, deeper creativity, and an unshakable inner peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. This is true wealth. It is the ability to stand on the shore of your own being, to see the storm on the surface, and yet to know with absolute certainty the profound, clear, and silent peace of your own depths. The universe is in a constant state of broadcast, whispering the secrets of its magnificent order. True wealth is simply learning how to be quiet enough to hear it. From the profound stillness of your own being, a new perception of reality can now emerge. You have quieted the storm on the surface of the lake, and in the clarity of the water, you begin to see the world not as it appears, but as it is. Our senses deceive us with a beautiful illusion. They tell us that the world is solid, fixed, a collection of separate and distinct objects. We see a chair, a tree, a body, a dollar bill, and we believe them to be solid things. But this is a surface-level truth, the truth of the agitated mind. Both ancient mysticism and quantum physics whisper a deeper, more astonishing reality. Nothing is solid. At its most fundamental level, everything you see, everything you touch, everything you are, is pure, vibrant energy. Everything is in a constant state of motion, a dance of infinitesimally small particles. The universe is not a collection of things. It is a symphony of vibration. Reality is a song. The chair you sit on is a very slow, dense vibration, a deep bass note. The light filtering through your window is a much faster, higher frequency vibration. Your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, these too are vibrations, invisible but immensely powerful. You are not a solid entity moving through a solid world. You are a field of energy, a complex harmony of vibrations, interacting with a larger, infinite symphony of energy. This is the single most important realization on the path to true wealth. Because once you understand this, you understand that manifestation, the law of attraction, is not a New Age fantasy. It is a fundamental law of the universe, as real and as impersonal as gravity. It is the law of resonance. Like attracts like. A vibrating string on a violin will cause a nearby string tuned to the same note to vibrate in sympathy without ever touching it. This is not magic. It is physics. And you, in every moment, are broadcasting a signal, a vibrational note, out into the cosmos. The universe, like the second violin string, has no choice but to resonate with the signal you send and to reflect it back to you in the form of your life circumstances. To make this deeply personal, imagine that you are a magnificent musical instrument, a cello, capable of producing the most beautiful resonant music. Your soul, your true self, is designed to play the music of joy, of love, of infinite abundance. However, for years, you have allowed your instrument to fall out of tune. The strings of your being have been tightened by fear or left slack by apathy and doubt. When you try to play the music of your life from this untuned state, what sound emerges? It is discordant, it is jarring, grating, and painful to hear. This is the feeling of a life lived in struggle. It is the vibration of lack, of trying to force things to happen, of constant effort and meager results. You draw the bow of your intention across the strings of your untuned self, and you produce the very noise you wish to escape, wondering why the world withholds its beauty from you. The world withholds nothing. It is only giving you a perfect reflection of the music you are playing. The rich man's formula is not about learning to play the bow with more force or frantic speed. It is about the patient, deliberate, and loving act of tuning your own instrument. This is the inner work. When you sit in stillness, you are not doing nothing. You are listening, for the first time, to the true sound of your strings. When you practice mindfulness, you are gently turning the tuning pegs of your awareness. When you consciously choose a thought of gratitude over a thought of complaint, you are making a micro-adjustment, bringing a string closer to its perfect pitch. This work is subtle. It is quiet. It is not glorious or dramatic, but it is the only work that creates real, lasting change. What then are these frequencies we speak of? They are not abstract concepts. You know them intimately. You feel them every day. The frequency of lack, of poverty, is a feeling. It is the feeling of contraction. It is the knot in your stomach, the tightness in your chest. It is the physical sensation of clutching, of holding on too tightly. It is the emotion of anxiety, of desperation, of jealousy, of resentment. When you are in this state, your breath is shallow, your posture is closed. This state broadcasts a very specific signal into the symphonia, low, heavy, dissonant frequency. When you send out this signal, what can the universe possibly send back? It can only send back more circumstances that match the feeling of lack. More bills, more scarcity, more reasons to feel anxious. It is not punishing you. It is simply obeying the law of resonance. Now consider the frequency of abundance. It too is a feeling. It is the feeling of expansion. It is an open chest, a deep, relaxed breath. It is the physical sensation of openness, of letting go, of trust. It is the emotion of gratitude, of peace, of love, of joy. When you are in this state, you are broadcasting a high, clear, harmonious frequency. This signal goes out into the symphony of the universe, and by law, the universe must send back experiences that resonate with that feeling. Opportunities appear to a person who feels open and ready. Money flows to a person who feels energetically abundant, not desperately needy. Love is given to a person who already resides in the frequency of love. You cannot fool this law. You cannot stand in a state of anxious lack and repeat the words, "I am wealthy," and expect results. The universe doesn't hear your words. It feels your vibration. The grand secret is to stop focusing on the things you want and to focus exclusively on cultivating the feeling of having them already. The feeling is the cause. The manifestation is the effect. Your emotions are your vibrational indicators. They are your internal guidance system. They are not your enemies. They are not character flaws. They are simply feedback, like the sound of your cello string. When you feel a negative emotion, fear, anger, frustration, it is simply the sound of an out-of-tune note. That is all. It is a loving message from your guidance system saying, the thought you are thinking right now, the focus you are holding, is creating a vibration that is not in harmony with your true self and your deeper desires. It is a call to pause, to breathe, and to gently retune by choosing a better feeling thought. When you feel a positive emotion, joy, appreciation, excitement, it is the sound of a perfectly tuned string. It is your guidance system confirming, yes, this. The thought you are thinking now, the focus you are holding, is in perfect harmony with who you really are and what you are creating. Your work is to become a master musician of your own inner state, using your emotions as your guide to constantly fine-tune your personal frequency. This process is amplified by a universal principle known as entrainment. In physics, entrainment is the tendency for one vibrating body to cause another nearby body to vibrate at the same frequency. If you place several pendulum clocks in the same room, their pendulums will eventually, mysteriously, synchronize and swing in perfect unison. This is what happens when you learn to consistently hold your desired vibration. Your personal energy field, now humming with the frequency of peace and abundance, begins to influence the field around you. The chaotic energy of problems and dramas can no longer sustain itself in your presence. It either calms down or moves away. People who are a vibrational match to your new, harmonious state are drawn into your life. The right collaborators, the supportive friends, the loving partner, and opportunities, ideas, and resources, which are all just forms of energy, begin to entrain to your frequency. They are drawn to you, not because you are chasing them, but because you have become a resonant match for them. You are not hunting for treasure. You are becoming the magnetic force that pulls the treasure to you. Therefore, the work is clear. Stop playing your instrument with force and begin the patient work of tuning it. The universe is already playing a magnificent symphony, a song of infinite expansion, well-being, and abundance. It has never stopped playing. You have not been excluded from it. You have simply been playing out of tune, creating a dissonance that prevents you from hearing the orchestra. Your only task is to tune yourself to the music that is already being played. Each moment of gratitude is an act of tuning. Each conscious breath is an act of tuning. Each choice to release a fearful thought and reach for a peaceful one is an act of tuning. Do this, and one day you will draw the bow of your intention across the strings of your being, and the note that emerges will be clear, beautiful, and powerful. It will merge perfectly with the grand symphony of the cosmos, and you will realize that the wealth you were seeking was never something to get. It was the music that was waiting to be played through you. You have learned to find the stillness. You have begun to understand that you are a musical instrument, broadcasting a frequency into the great symphony of existence. The immediate practical question then becomes, how do I tune this instrument? What is the master key, the tuning fork, that can most quickly and effectively bring the strings of my being into harmony with the frequency of abundance? The answer is at once profoundly simple and deeply misunderstood. It is the practice, the state, the alchemical power of gratitude. We have been taught to think of gratitude as a polite afterthought. It is the thank you we offer after we have received a gift. It is a response to a kindness, a reaction to a fortunate event. In the economy of human interaction, it is the payment rendered for a service received. But in the physics of consciousness, this sequence is reversed. In the reality where you are the creator, gratitude is not the response to a gift. It is the force that summons the gift into being. It is not the celebration after the victory. It is the vibration that ensures the victory. It is the prayer that is simultaneously the answer. We have been taught to see a world of problems that must be fought, of obstacles that must be broken, of resistance that must be overcome through force and struggle. Gratitude offers a different path. It is the universal solvent. It does not fight. It does not struggle. It simply and effortlessly dissolves the reality of lack. To grasp this power, imagine that the collected fears, doubts, and beliefs in scarcity that you hold are a great, dense block of ice. It is cold, heavy, and seemingly permanent. It is the frozen energy of your past pains and future worries. Faced with this block, our typical approach is to take up a hammer and a chisel. We attack the ice with the brute force of our will. We chip away at our problems. We fight our circumstances. We wrestle with our feelings of lack. This is an exhausting, arduous process. And what does it produce? It produces shattered, jagged pieces of the same ice and a deep weariness in our soul. We are fighting the problem on its own terms, on the frequency of struggle and resistance. Gratitude is the sunlight. The sun does not attack the block of ice. It does not consider it an enemy. It does not expend any effort in trying to break it. The sun simply does what it does best. It shines. It radiates its own intrinsic nature of warmth and light, generously and without condition. And what happens to the ice under the gentle, persistent, unwavering warmth of the sun? The ice cannot maintain its form. Its rigid, frozen structure begins to soften. It yields. It transforms. It melts, returning to its natural, essential state. Water. Life-giving, flowing, flexible water. Gratitude is the sunlight of consciousness. When you shine the warmth of genuine appreciation on the frozen blocks of your problems, on the cold reality of your perceived lack, you do not fight them. You dissolve them. You melt them back into the universal flow of well-being. How does this work? It works on the fundamental level of vibration. As we have discussed, you are broadcasting a frequency in every moment, and the universe is responding to that frequency. The state of gratitude is, by its very nature, one of the highest and most harmonious frequencies you can embody. Think of what the feeling of genuine gratitude communicates. It is a declaration of sufficiency. It is a powerful broadcast that says, I have enough. I am provided for. I am blessed. All is well. In the moment that you are truly feeling grateful, it is impossible to simultaneously feel a sense of lack. The two vibrations are mutually exclusive. They cannot coexist, just as light and total darkness cannot occupy the same space. When you are in a state of gratitude, you are, by definition, out of a state of lack. And since the universe can only bring you more of what you are vibrationally broadcasting, a sustained state of gratitude becomes a powerful, irresistible magnet for more and more experiences for which to be grateful. This is why merely paying lip service to gratitude is ineffective. You cannot stand in the cold, casting a shadow of doubt, and expect to melt the ice by simply saying the word sunshine. It must be a felt experience. You must learn to generate the warmth of gratitude within your own being. The practice, then, is to become an alchemist of your own heart. The practice begins with what is right in front of you. Do not try to force yourself to feel grateful for $1 million that has not yet appeared. That is like trying to imagine the sun on a freezing, moonless night. Instead, begin by tuning your instrument with the simple notes of what is already here. Can you feel a wave of genuine gratitude for the breath that is entering and leaving your body without any conscious effort from you? This breath has sustained you your entire life. It is an immense, unearned gift. Can you feel gratitude for the heart that beats within your chest, a faithful drum that has played your song since before you were born? Can you feel gratitude for the chair that supports you, for the clean water in your tap, for the roof that shelters you? These may seem like small things. They are not. They are the foundation of all abundance. By pouring the focus of your powerful consciousness onto these simple present gifts, you begin to practice the feeling of gratitude. You generate the warmth. You tune your cello to this beautiful, harmonious note. And as you get better at holding this frequency, as you make gratitude your default state, your vibrational set point, you build the energetic capacity to attract larger and more magnificent manifestations. You master the frequency of abundance on a small scale, which gives you the power to command it on a grand scale. The advanced practice, the true mark of a master creator, is to learn to shine the sunlight of gratitude on the storms of your life. Can you find a reason to be grateful for your challenges? This is not a call for masochism, but an act of profound alchemy. Can you be grateful for a painful breakup because it is teaching you about your own strength and worth? Can you be grateful for a financial struggle because it is forcing you to become more creative and resourceful than you have ever been? Can you be grateful for a critic because they are revealing your own insecurities, giving you an opportunity to heal them? This practice short-circuits the entire mechanism of victimhood. It transforms a perceived curse into a chosen blessing. It declares, with unshakable power, that nothing can happen to you. It can only happen for you, for your own growth and expansion. A person who can genuinely give thanks for their adversities is a person who cannot be defeated. From there, you graduate to the ultimate creative act, gratitude for the unseen. This is the art of giving thanks for your desire before it has appeared in your physical reality. You quiet your mind, you enter the stillness, and you imagine your desire fulfilled. You feel the reality of it. And then, from that place, you let a wave of overwhelming gratitude wash over you. Gratitude for the new career that is so fulfilling. Gratitude for the loving partner who sees your soul. Gratitude for the vibrant health that courses through your body. You feel the thankfulness so completely that tears may come to your eyes. This is not pretending. This is creating. You are generating the exact vibrational frequency of your answered prayer. You are becoming a perfect, resonant match for what you desire. You are sending out the clearest possible signal, and the universe, by its unwavering law, must begin to orchestrate circumstances to bring the physical manifestation into your life. It has no choice. This is how gratitude acts as the universal solvent. It dissolves doubt, because in a state of genuine thankfulness, doubt cannot survive. It dissolves impatience, because gratitude anchors you so firmly in the richness of the present moment that the frantic need for the future to hurry up simply falls away. It dissolves the feeling of unworthiness, because the very act of feeling grateful is an experience of being profoundly blessed and cared for. You cannot feel truly grateful and unworthy at the same time. Therefore, let this be your primary practice. Let it be the light you shine. Do not wait for your world to give you a reason to be grateful. Your gratitude is the reason your world will change. Make it the first thought that warms your mind in the morning and the last feeling that pacifies your heart at night. Let it be the silent song that you sing behind all your activities. Be the sun. The ice of your limitations is already beginning to melt. You have learned to sit in the stillness. You have tuned your being to the frequency of gratitude, feeling the warmth of the sun begin to melt the ice of perceived lack. You may now be feeling a new sense of flow, a nascent harmony. Yet, for many, there is still a sticking point, an invisible barrier. You may find yourself taking 2 steps forward, only to be mysteriously pulled 1 step back. You may feel the stirring of abundance, only to have a wave of self-sabotage or an old, familiar anxiety wash over you. If this is your experience, do not be discouraged. It is a sign that you are ready for a deeper, more foundational level of this work. We have, until now, been working with the weather and the water of your inner world. Now, we must go deeper. We must go into the soil itself. We must speak of the ancient pacts of poverty. Imagine your subconscious mind is a vast, fertile field. Your conscious intentions, your desires for wealth and well-being, are like exquisite rose seeds that you wish to plant. You have brought the sunlight of your focused attention and the living water of your gratitude. But when you go to plant your seeds, you find the ground is not clear. It is choked with a dense network of ancient, stubborn weeds. These weeds have deep, tenacious roots, and they have been growing, unchallenged, for your entire life. They consume the nutrients from the soil and block the light. You cannot simply scatter your rose seeds on top of this tangled mess and hope for the best. To do so is a recipe for frustration. The roses will struggle to sprout, and those that do will be weak and withered. Before you can cultivate a garden of abundance, you must first have the courage to get on your hands and knees and tend to the weeds. These weeds are your limiting beliefs. They are the silent, invisible agreements you made with reality long ago, without ever realizing you were signing a contract. These are the pacts of poverty. They are not written on paper, but are etched into the deepest pathways of your psyche. They are the legacy of your upbringing, the whispers of your culture, and the scars of your past experiences. A pact might sound like this: money is the root of all evil. Or, you have to work yourself to the bone for every penny. Or, wanting more is selfish and greedy. Or the most insidious of all: wealth is for other people, not for people like me. These are not just phrases. They are powerful commands running in the background of your reality, shaping your decisions, filtering your perceptions, and silently dictating what you are allowed to receive. To break these pacts, you must first become an archaeologist of your own soul. You must be willing to dig into the soil of your past, not to assign blame, but to gain understanding. The excavation begins in your childhood. What did you hear about money when you were a small child? When your mind was like wet cement, ready to take any impression? Was money a source of constant stress, the cause of hushed, anxious arguments between your parents? Were you told, "We can't afford that"? A phrase that a child interprets not as a temporary financial state, but as a fundamental truth about their identity and their place in the world. Did you absorb the idea that there is a finite amount of good to go around, and that if you have more, someone else must have less? These early imprints do not fade. They become the bedrock of our financial reality. Extend your archaeological dig into your cultural and societal conditioning. We are all swimming in a sea of collective beliefs. Think of the romanticized image of the starving artist, the idea that true creativity and poverty are noble companions. Consider the spiritual traditions that sometimes preach a suspicion of wealth, equating piety with material lack. These cultural currents are powerful. They seep into our subconscious and create a deep-seated conflict. We may consciously desire wealth, but subconsciously believe that to be wealthy is to be uncreative, unspiritual, or a bad person. This inner conflict creates a state of perpetual self-sabotage. You will unconsciously push away the very abundance you are consciously praying for, because you are terrified of what you believe you will have to become in order to have it. Finally, you must excavate your own personal history. Have you experienced a significant financial trauma? A business that failed, leaving you with debt and shame? A betrayal by a partner over money? A sudden loss of security? These events create deep, energetic scars. They can forge a powerful subconscious pact that sounds like, "It is not safe to be successful. If I build it all up again, I will only lose it, and the pain of that loss is too great to bear." And so, your subconscious, in a misguided attempt to protect you from future pain, will ensure that you never build it up too high in the first place. It keeps you playing small, not out of malice, but out of a twisted, traumatized form of love. How then do we bring these invisible pacts into the light? You must become a detective of your own inner world. Ask yourself powerful, probing questions, and have the courage to listen to the raw, unfiltered answers. Take out a journal and write, "What is my biggest fear about having 10 times my current income?" Do not censor your answer. Is it the fear of judgment, the fear of responsibility, the fear of losing it all? That fear is the voice of your pact. Ask yourself, what do I believe I would have to give up to be truly wealthy? Your time, your integrity, your relationships. That belief is a bar in your cage. Ask, deep down, in the most secret place of my heart, do I believe I am truly, unequivocally worthy of ease and abundance? Be ruthlessly honest. The slightest hesitation is the signal of a pact of unworthiness. Pay attention to your automatic gut reactions. When you see someone enjoying extravagant wealth, what is your first, unfiltered thought? Is it, how wonderful for them? Or is it a flash of judgment, envy, or resentment? That flash is a clue, a breadcrumb leading back to the source of your own limitations. Once you have identified a pact, once you have dragged a weed out from the soil and into the light of your awareness, its power over you is diminished by half. You cannot be controlled by that which you can clearly see. The next step is a conscious ritual of release. Look at the belief you have uncovered. For example, the belief that I have to struggle to be worthy. Acknowledge that this belief, this pact, was not your enemy. It was a survival strategy. Perhaps it motivated you, pushed you, or made you feel like you were earning your place in the world. So you say to it, internally or out loud, I thank you for your service. I thank you for the ways you tried to keep me safe and motivated. Your purpose is now complete. This act of gratitude dissolves the emotional charge. Then, with authority, you declare, I now release this agreement. I cancel this pact. It no longer serves my highest good, and it is no longer my truth. Feel the finality of this declaration. Now, the soil is clear. You must consciously plant a new seed. You must write a new pact. This must be done with feeling and conviction. If the old pact was, it's not safe to be rich, a new pact might be, it is my birthright to be both safe and abundant. The more wealth I have, the more good I can do in the world, and the more secure I become. If the old pact was, I am not worthy of ease, the new pact is, I am infinitely worthy of receiving abundance with joy and ease. Write these new pacts down, meditate on them, repeat them not as empty words, but as declarations of a new reality. Feel the truth of them in your body. Animate them with the sunlight of your attention and the water of your gratitude. This is the sacred work of tending your inner garden. It is not a task to be completed once, but an ongoing practice of a conscious creator. From time to time, an old weed may try to sprout again, but now you are not an unconscious victim of your own landscape. You are the master gardener. You will recognize the weed of doubt or fear the moment it emerges, and you can gently pull it up before it takes root. You are no longer defined by the pacts of your past. You are the author of a new agreement, a sacred contract with a universe of infinite abundance. With your soil now cleared and ready, you are prepared to plant the seed of your most powerful and undivided intention. The soil of your inner garden is now clear. You have warmed it with the sun of gratitude and pulled the ancient weeds of inherited lack. The ground is prepared. It is now time to plant the seed. But what is this seed? It is not a vague wish. It is not a timid hope. It is not a desperate plea. The universe, the great fertile field of all possibility, does not respond to neediness. It responds to clarity. It does not answer to hope. It answers to command. The seed you must now plant is the seed of a clear, firm, and undivided intent. Most of us move through life as archers with a trembling hand. We stand before the target of our desires for abundance, for love, for peace, and we draw back the bowstring of our attention. But as we aim, our mind is a battlefield of contradiction. A part of us wants to hit the bullseye, but another part whispers, "What if you miss? What will people think? Are you sure this is the right target? Perhaps you don't deserve to hit it." We want the prize, but we fear the responsibility it brings. We desire the success, but we dread the visibility that accompanies it. We pull the string back with desire, while simultaneously pushing it forward with fear. The result is a divided intent. And when we finally release the arrow, it flies with no power. It wobbles, it wavers, and it clatters harmlessly to the ground, far short of its mark. Then we look at the fallen arrow, and we look at the distant target, and we conclude that creating our own reality is impossible, that wealth is not for us. The problem was never with the arrow, the bow, or the target. The problem was the division in the mind of the archer. Now, imagine a master. The master archer approaches the line with a quiet mind. Their focus is total. They do not hope to hit the target. They have already decided that the arrow is in the center. In their mind, the act is already complete. There is no thought of missing. There is no fear of failure. The mind, the body, the bow, the arrow, and the target become a single, unified field of intention. The release of the string is not an act of effort, but an act of letting go. It is clean, silent, and effortless. And the arrow, imbued with this purity of purpose, flies with a straight and powerful hum, embedding itself perfectly in the heart of the target. This is the power of an undivided intent. It is the state where what you want is no longer contradicted by what you fear or what you believe to be true. It is a state of absolute inner alignment. To forge such an intent, you must first diagnose the sources of your own inner division. Why do your arrows fall short? For many, the division is between the desire for wealth and the fear of change. You want the freedom that money can bring, but you are subconsciously terrified that it will complicate your life, that you will lose your old friends, that your family will treat you differently, that you will become a person you do not recognize. You are aiming for abundance while simultaneously praying to remain exactly where you are. The universe receives these two contradictory signals, and the result is paralysis. Nothing changes because your intent is at war with itself. For others, the division lies between the desire for success and the fear of visibility. You want your work to be recognized, your business to flourish, but you are deeply afraid of the judgment, the criticism, and the envy that can come with standing in the spotlight. You want the light, but you are afraid of being truly seen. This conflict holds you in a state of suspended animation, always on the verge of a breakthrough that never quite arrives, because a part of you is actively sabotaging the very success you crave in order to keep you safe in the shadows. The most common division, the one that plagues almost every seeker, is the obsession with how. You make a decision about what you want, and then you immediately cripple that decision by frantically worrying about how it could possibly manifest. This obsession with the how is a powerful statement of doubt. It is a declaration to the universe that you do not trust its power, that you believe its resources are limited to the narrow channels you can currently perceive. It is like the archer releasing the arrow and then running alongside it, trying to steer it with their hands. Your job is not to manage the flight of the arrow. Your job is to ensure its release is from a place of absolute, undivided conviction. The how is the domain of the universe. The what is the domain of your intent. Do not confuse the two. To concern yourself with the how is to divide your intent and guarantee a fallen arrow. So how do you move from a state of divided wanting to one of undivided intent? It begins with the power of a true decision. The word decide has its roots in the Latin words de, meaning off, and cedere, meaning to cut. To decide is to cut yourself off from all other possibilities. It is not a preference. It is a verdict. It is a command. A wish is a whisper. A decision is a thunderclap that echoes through the corridors of creation. Take the time to get crystal clear on what it is you intend to create. Not more money. That is a weak and fuzzy target. What does your life of abundance feel like? What are you doing with your days? What is the quality of your peace of mind? Create a scene in your imagination that implies your desire is fulfilled, and make that scene your target. Once the target is clear, you must perform the sacred act of decision. You must declare, to yourself and to the silent witness of the universe, this, or something better, is now my reality. I have decided. It is done. In this moment, you cut off the possibility of failure. You cut off the option of it not happening. You must feel the finality of this act, the profound peace that comes when the inner war is over. It is the feeling of the master archer at the moment of full draw, perfectly still, perfectly silent, knowing the outcome is assured. After the decision is made, your work is to become a vigilant guardian of your mind, protecting the purity of your intent. The old thoughts of doubt, the but hows and what ifs, will arise out of habit. Do not fight them. Simply recognize them for what they are. Echoes of an old reality, phantoms from a contract you have already cancelled. When the thought, "I don't see how this can happen," arises, you meet it with the calm assertion, "That is no longer my concern." The decision is made. You do not water the weeds of doubt. You starve them of your attention, and you place your attention back on the feeling of your wish fulfilled. To hold an undivided intent is to live in the assumption that your desire is already a fact. This is the deepest part of the secret. You must begin to think from your goal, not of your goal. How would you be feeling, thinking, and acting if the money were already in your bank, if the success were already yours? Would you be walking with anxiety or with a quiet confidence? Would you be complaining about lack or would you be feeling generous? You must begin to embody that state of being now. This is not faking it. It is an act of profound faith in the unseen reality you have commanded into being. It is the archer turning and walking away from the line with a calm smile, not even waiting to see the arrow hit, because the outcome was never in doubt. Your vague desires are like fallen leaves in the wind, scattered and powerless. Your clear, committed, undivided intent is an arrow of fire. It burns through obstacles, it collapses time, and it commands the elements of reality to rearrange themselves in accordance with its aim. The universe is not waiting for you to beg. It is waiting for your command. So step up to the line, choose your target, draw back the bow of your consciousness, and let go of all that is not your aim. Make the decision. Cut off all other possibilities. The arrow is in flight. The arrow of your undivided intent has been released. It is soaring, silent and true, through the vastness of the unseen world, propelled by the immense power of your decision. The seed of your desire has been planted in the fertile, prepared soil of your subconscious mind. Your work as the archer, as the planter, is now complete. And here you arrive at the most subtle, the most paradoxical, and the most powerful stage of creation. It is a stage that feels, to the conditioned mind, like doing nothing at all. It is the stage that requires a courage far greater than that of struggle or effort. It is the sacred art of letting go. Our world has taught us a dangerous lie. It has taught us that to create, to succeed, to manifest anything of value, we must control. We must manage, micromanage, strategize, and force outcomes into being. We believe that our grip is the source of our power. The idea of releasing that grip, of surrendering control, feels like an admission of defeat. It feels like passivity, like irresponsibility, like giving up. But in the higher physics of consciousness, the opposite is true. Your tight grip, your desperate need to control the how and the when, is the very thing that strangles your desire at its birth. After you have shot the arrow, your attempt to control its flight will only cause it to fall. The sacred art of letting go is not an act of giving up. It is the ultimate act of faith. It is not an abdication of power, but a conscious delegation of the details to a power that is infinitely more intelligent and resourceful than your conscious mind could ever be. Return to the image of your inner garden. You have planted the seed of your intent with love and clarity. Now, imagine an anxious gardener. Every day, consumed by doubt, they go out to the garden. Is it working? Is it growing yet? They cannot bear the uncertainty of the unseen process. So, they take their trowel and they carefully dig up the seed to check for signs of life. They examine it for the tiniest sprout, the smallest root. Finding none, they sigh with frustration and they plant it again. The next day, the same anxiety grips them and they repeat the process. What is the result of this obsessive care? They kill the seed. Their need to control, their lack of faith in the natural process of growth ensures that the seed will never have the stable, undisturbed environment it needs to germinate. This anxious gardener is the human ego. It is the part of you that believes everything depends on its constant, frantic intervention. The wise gardener, the master creator, behaves very differently. They plant the seed with the same love and clarity. But once the seed is in the earth, they perform the sacred act of surrender. They release the outcome. They continue to tend to the conditions. They water the soil with daily gratitude. They ensure it receives the sunlight of their joyful attention, but they do not interfere with the seed itself. They trust the unseen intelligence within the seed and within the soil. They know the seed contains the complete blueprint of the mighty oak tree, and it knows precisely how to unfold, in its own time, in its own way. The wise gardener's work is not to force the growth, but to maintain a state of loving trust, to create a field of faith in which the miracle of growth can naturally occur. Why is this so difficult for us? Why do we cling so tightly, even when our clinging brings us so much pain? The root of it is a profound lack of trust. We do not trust the universe. We do not trust life. We do not trust our own higher self. We operate from the orphan-like belief that we are fundamentally alone, and that if we do not manage every single detail of our lives, everything will spin into chaos. This is the ego's deepest fear, the fear of its own irrelevance. The ego wants to be the hero of the story. It wants to be able to point to the eventual success and say, "I did that. My brilliant plan, my relentless effort made this happen." To let go is to release the ego's need for credit. It is to humbly accept your role, not as the sole creator, but as a co-creator, with a vast, benevolent intelligence that orchestrates the symphony of reality. This clinging is also fueled by a desperate impatience, a symptom of our culture of instant gratification. We want the mighty oak tree, and we want it tomorrow. This impatience is not a sign of strong desire. It is a sign of weak faith. It is a vibrational signal to the universe that says, "I don't really believe this is working, so you need to show me a sign, right now, to prove it to me." This needy, doubtful energy repels the very thing you desire. True faith is patient. It is calm. It is able to rest in the knowing that what has been commanded in the unseen will manifest in the seen, in the perfect time and the perfect way. It is crucial to understand what letting go is and what it is not. Letting go is not passivity. It is not an excuse to abandon your desire and revert to a state of apathy. It does not mean you will sit on your sofa and take no action. You will be guided to act, but the actions you take will feel different. They will not spring from a place of desperate, anxious striving. They will be inspired. They will feel light, joyful, and easy. They will seem to happen by chance, as you follow a sudden hunch or a quiet, intuitive nudge. This is the universe showing you the next step on the path it is clearing for you. Letting go is an intensely active state of trust. It is a moment-by-moment choice. It is the conscious practice of catching yourself in a spiral of worry and choosing in that moment to release it. It is noticing your mind obsessing over the timeline and choosing, in that moment, to surrender it. It is the practice of detaching your happiness from the arrival of your manifestation. You commit to your vision, but you release the desperate need for it to happen. Your peace, your joy, your feeling of abundance are not held hostage, waiting for a future event. You find them now in the sacred act of trusting the process. The feeling of trust itself becomes the reward. How do you practice this art? You can begin with a simple, powerful ritual. Close your eyes, bring your desire, your beautifully clear intent into your mind. See it, feel it, and then imagine placing it into a beautiful, ornate box. This box represents the infinite womb of creation. Feel the texture of the box, its weight. Then, with a feeling of deep reverence and absolute faith, visualize yourself handing this box over to the universe, to God, to the intelligence of life itself. As you release your grip on the box, feel the burden of responsibility lift from your shoulders. It is no longer your job to figure out the how. It is not your job to manage the logistics. You have done your part. You have placed the order. Now you must allow the master chef to prepare the meal. After this ritual, your practice is one of catch and release. When you find your mind clinging again, worrying about the how or the when, do not judge yourself. Simply notice it. Say, "Ah, there is the anxious gardener again." And then, with a gentle inner smile, you say, "I release this. I trust the process." And you consciously pivot your attention to something that brings you a feeling of peace or gratitude in this present moment. Focus on the feeling you desire, not the specific form it must take. If you desire financial abundance, instead of obsessing over a check from a specific source, focus on the feeling of freedom, security, and ease. By detaching from the specific form, you open up infinite, surprising channels through which the universe can deliver the feeling of abundance to you. The clenched fist cannot receive a gift. The clenched fist is the state of control, of fear, of striving. To receive the boundless generosity of the universe, you must learn to open your hand. This open hand is the symbol of trust, of surrender, of allowing. It is the posture of receiving. Letting go is not the abandonment of your desire. It is the final and most essential ingredient in its creation. It is the ultimate declaration of your faith. It is the act of clearing the channel, of making space in your life, of opening the door for a miracle to walk through. You have shot the arrow. Do not watch it with an anxious eye. Trust its flight. You have planted the seed. Do not disturb the soil. Trust its growth. Your work now is to rest in the certainty that what is yours is already on its way. You have released the arrow of your intent. You have surrendered your grip on the bowstring. You have entrusted the seed of your desire to the wise soil of creation. And now you find yourself in a space that may feel unfamiliar, perhaps even uncomfortable. It is a space of waiting, a space of not knowing. It is the pause between the exhalation and the next inhalation. To the ego, which thrives on control, on action, on noise, this space feels like a vacuum. It feels like nothing, and the ego is terrified of nothingness. It will rush to fill this sacred pause with 1,000 anxieties, 100 new plans, a dozen frantic actions. But here, we must invite the ego to be still. We must have the courage to rest in this space, for this nothingness that we fear is the most powerful, the most creative and the most magical state in the universe. This is the fertile void. Before the Big Bang, before the first star ignited, before the first galaxy began to spin, there was, according to both physics and mysticism, a state of infinite, silent, potent emptiness. All of the cosmos, with its billions of suns and its intricate dance of life, emerged from this primordial void. Before the composer writes a single note, there is the silence. The music is born from the silence, and it is the silence between the notes that gives the melody its meaning. Before the painter touches the canvas, there is the blank, white space. That space is not empty. It is pregnant with infinite possibility. That creative emptiness, that silent potentiality, is not just a feature of the universe. It is the source of the universe, and it is the source of your new reality. You cannot create something new while clinging desperately to the old. You must be willing to let go of what you are, to make space for what you are becoming. You must be willing to enter the fertile void. Imagine a master sculptor standing before a great formless block of marble. The sculptor has been commissioned to create a masterpiece, a statue of perfect divine beauty. Where is this masterpiece? Is it something the sculptor must build, adding clay here and there? Number. The profound truth is that the masterpiece is already in its entirety contained within the stone. The stone is a field of pure potential. It contains the form of the masterpiece, and it also contains every other possible form. The sculptor's great work is not an act of addition, it is an act of subtraction. The sculptor takes up a chisel and a hammer, and with reverence and vision, begins to chip away everything that is not the masterpiece. They are not creating the form, they are revealing it. They are liberating the beauty that was trapped within the excess stone. You must be willing to become both the sculptor and the stone. Your old identity, your limiting beliefs, your story of lack, your desperate need to control and to know the future, this is all the excess stone. To enter the fertile void is to surrender to the chisel of the universe. It is to allow everything that is not your true, magnificent, abundant self to be gently chipped away. This can feel frightening. It can feel like you are losing parts of yourself. But you are not losing anything of value. You are only losing the prison to reveal the palace. The fertile void is the state of being the uncarved block of marble. It is the state of pure potentiality before you have limited yourself with a definition, a belief, or a fear. It is the state of I am before you have added the words, I am poor, I am struggling, or I am unworthy. What does it feel like to be in this state? It is the state of I don't know. The egoic mind is a machine built to have an answer for everything. It wants a map, a guarantee, a 5-step plan. It equates not knowing with danger and failure. But the spirit, the creative self, understands that not knowing is the prerequisite for all new knowledge. It is the posture of true openness. To stand in the void is to release your white-knuckled grip on your own limited plans and to declare to the universe, I am open. I am willing to receive a solution, an outcome, a reality far greater than the one my own small mind could conceive. It is the ultimate act of faith. We resist this state with all our might. We have become addicts of somethingness. We are terrified of the empty spaces. Notice how we fill every moment of our lives. We fill the silence with podcasts, with music, with television. We fill our time with endless busyness, with tasks and to-do lists that keep us from having to sit quietly with ourselves for even a single minute. We fill our minds with a constant stream of information, scrolling through the lives of others, consuming news of distant crises, anything to avoid the vast, silent landscape of our own inner being. For many, we even define ourselves by our problems. Being the person who is struggling financially or the one who is unlucky in love becomes a familiar, if painful, identity. To let go of the struggle is to let go of the identity, and that means stepping into the void of who am I now. It is often more comfortable to cling to the familiar identity of the victim than to embrace the boundless, undefined freedom of the creator. The practice of entering the void, therefore, is not a practice of doing, but of undoing. The most direct path is meditation, but not a meditation where you are trying to achieve a state of bliss or get an answer. It is a meditation of pure being. It is the practice of simply sitting, observing the breath, and allowing everything to be exactly as it is. It is resting in the awareness that is aware, before that awareness attaches to a thought or a story. It is becoming comfortable in your own unadorned presence. Another practice is to consciously embrace uncertainty. When you are faced with a problem and you do not have the solution, resist the frantic urge to immediately figure it out. Pause, breathe. Say to yourself, I am in the fertile void on this topic. I release the need for an immediate answer. I trust that the perfect solution is crystallizing in the silence and will be revealed to me at the perfect time. This transforms anxiety into a state of sacred anticipation. You can also spend time in nature. The vastness of the ocean, the silence of a forest, the infinite depth of the night sky, these are all external representations of the fertile void. They connect you to a sense of peace and possibility that transcends the chatter of your ego. Do not fear this emptiness. It is not an absence to be dreaded, but a presence to be revered. Before you can pour fresh, new wine into a cup, the cup must first be emptied of the stale dregs of the old. The process of letting go, of forgiving, of releasing your old stories, is the act of emptying your cup. The fertile void is the necessary, holy pause between your old reality and your new one. It is the darkness of the womb in which a new life gestates. It is the silence in the concert hall just before the first glorious note is played. To have the courage to rest in this fertile darkness, to be at peace with not knowing, is to offer the universe a clean canvas upon which it can paint a masterpiece. You have released your old self. You have let go of the how. Now, rest in this sacred, creative, and pregnant emptiness, and watch with wonder as a new you, and a new world is born from it. From the silent, potent emptiness of the fertile void, a new understanding of self begins to dawn. Having released the old identity defined by lack and struggle, a space has been cleared for a more profound truth to take root. This truth challenges one of the most fundamental dualities of the human mind, the separation between giving and receiving. In our conventional thinking, we have placed these two acts on opposite sides of a moral ledger. We have been taught that giving is noble, virtuous, and selfless, while receiving can feel awkward, indebted, or even selfish. This division, this belief that they are two separate and opposing actions, is one of the greatest blockages to the flow of abundance. The universe does not operate in this dualistic way. In the divine economy, giving and receiving are not two actions. They are one single, seamless motion. They are the inhale and the exhale of the cosmos. To understand this, consider the most fundamental act of your existence, your breath. The universe offers you the gift of life-giving air. To receive this gift, you must inhale. This is an act of pure receiving. It is an act of openness, of trust, of allowing. You do not have to earn the air. You do not have to prove you are worthy of it. You simply have to be open enough to take it in. This is the universe's model for receiving abundance. It is offered freely, constantly, and unconditionally. Now, what happens after you have received this gift? You must release it. You must exhale. In this act of giving back, you release from your body that which is no longer needed, which in turn nourishes the plant life of the world, the very life that creates the oxygen for your next breath. Your act of giving is inextricably linked to your ability to receive. Now, imagine trying to break this sacred cycle. Imagine you decide that receiving is good, and you will only inhale. You take in a deep breath, and another, and you hold it, refusing to give it back. Your lungs become painfully full, the air becomes stale and toxic, and you quickly suffocate in your own hoarding. This is the state of the person who only seeks to take, who dams the river of abundance, creating a stagnant, lifeless pool of their own greed. Now imagine the opposite. You decide that giving is noble, and you will only exhale. You push all the air from your lungs in a great act of selfless giving, and then you refuse to receive. You refuse to take the next breath. You quickly become depleted, empty, weak, and you collapse. This is the state of the martyr, the chronic overgiver, who gives from a place of depletion, and in doing so, violates the sacred rhythm of life. True wealth, true well-being, is found not in choosing one over the other, but in mastering the effortless, rhythmic, balanced flow of both. It is understanding that the exhale is for the sake of the next inhale, and the inhale is for the sake of the next exhale. They are one. For many on a spiritual path, the greatest blockage is not in giving, but in receiving. We have embraced the nobility of generosity, but we have not healed our deep-seated resistance to being on the receiving end. We have become bad receivers. Why? For some, there is a subtle pride in being the giver. It places us in a position of power, of being the one who has, while others are the ones who need. It is the ego, dressed in the saintly robes of a martyr, feeling a sense of control and superiority. To receive requires a certain humility, a vulnerability, an admission that we too are part of the whole, and that we too need the flow of life to come to us. For others, the blockage comes from a fear of indebtedness. We have been taught that every gift comes with strings attached, that to receive something is to owe something in return. This feeling of obligation is uncomfortable, so we deflect compliments, refuse offers of help, and feel awkward when presented with a gift. We prefer the clean feeling of not owing anyone anything, not realizing that in doing so, we are refusing the gifts of the universe and damning the flow. When you refuse a genuine gift, you are not only blocking your own receiving channel, you are also denying the other person the joy and blessing of being a giver. Gracious receiving is itself a form of giving, and for most, at the very bottom of our inability to receive, lies the ancient wound of unworthiness. Deep down, we carry a belief that we are not truly deserving of ease, of gifts, of unconditional love or abundance. So when these things try to enter our lives, it creates a profound cognitive dissonance. It contradicts the story we have told ourselves about who we are. An opportunity appears, and we find a way to sabotage it. Someone offers us love, and we push it away. A gift comes our way, and we feel a wave of guilt. We are like a person standing in a downpour of golden rain with an umbrella, wondering why we are so dry. You must put down the umbrella of your own unworthiness. You must give the universe, and the people in it, the profound gift of allowing them to give to you. The practice, then, is to become a conscious conduit for this universal circulation. The first step is to examine your giving. Are you giving from a place of fullness and joy, or from a place of depletion and obligation? Joyful giving energizes you. Obligatory giving drains you. Practice giving for the sheer pleasure of letting the energy move. Give a smile to a stranger. Give a genuine compliment. Give your undivided, present attention to a loved one. Give a small amount of money, a tip, or a donation, not with a feeling of loss, but with a feeling of gratitude that you are a channel for the universe's abundance. Feel the energy flowing through you, not from you. You are not the source of the river. You are the riverbed that allows it to flow. The second, and perhaps more challenging practice, is to become a gracious receiver. This requires conscious, deliberate effort. The next time someone pays you a compliment, resist the urge to deflect or diminish it. Pause, breathe it in, Look them in the eye and say, simply and warmly, "Thank you." Feel the truth of their words land in your heart. The next time someone offers to help you, let them. Receive their help as a gift of love. The next time an unexpected opportunity, a small gift, or a moment of grace comes your way, do not question it or analyze whether you deserve it. Open your arms and receive it with a full-throated yes to the universe. See it as evidence that you are in the flow, that the universe is winking at you, affirming its love for you. Understand the universal law of circulation. That which is hoarded stagnates. That which is not used or expressed atrophies. Money that is held in fear loses its life force. Love that is not expressed withers. Talents that are not shared diminish. You are designed to be a vibrant center of flow and distribution. When you receive money, you are meant to allow it to flow through you, to pay your bills with gratitude, to purchase goods with joy, to share and donate with a feeling of fullness. This keeps the energy moving and ensures that more will flow to you. You are not a dead-end street. You are a bustling intersection in the city of cosmic commerce. You are emerging from the void as a new being, one who understands that there is no separation between the inner and the outer, between the self and the universe. Now you must embody the truth, that there is no separation between the inhale and the exhale. You are not a pond that needs to be filled. You are the river itself. A healthy river receives from the mountains and gives to the sea in one continuous, joyful, life-affirming motion. It does not worry about where the water comes from or where it is going. It simply revels in the glorious feeling of the flow. Let go of the need to categorize yourself as a giver or a receiver. You are both. You are one. Embrace the rhythm of this sacred breath, and you will find yourself living in a state of perpetual, graceful, and astonishing abundance. We have arrived at the very heart of the matter. We have journeyed through stillness and vibration. We have tended the garden of the mind and planted the seed of intent. We have even learned to open ourselves to the universal rhythm of giving and receiving. Yet, a ghost may still haunt the corridors of your inner world. It is the quiet, persistent whisper that asks the most devastating question of all. But am I truly worthy of it? This question is the final gatekeeper. It is the guardian of the vault. You can learn all the universal laws, master all the techniques, and possess the clearest intention, but if, at the core of your being, you harbor the belief that you are unworthy, you will find a way to slam the door shut just as abundance arrives. This feeling of unworthiness is the great foundational myth of human suffering, and our purpose here is not to teach you how to finally become worthy. That is an impossible task, for one cannot become what one already is. Our purpose is to help you remember the worthiness that has been yours, uninterrupted, since the moment of your conception. Consider a single wild rose growing in an open field. Does this rose have to perform a series of tasks to earn the right to the sunlight? Does it need to present a business plan to the soil to justify the nutrients it receives? Does it have to achieve a certain quota of thorns before it is deemed worthy of the morning dew? The very idea is absurd. The rose does not concern itself with earning its existence. Its existence is its own qualification. Its right to receive the infinite generosity of the sun, the soil, and the rain is inherent in the simple, irrefutable fact that it is. Its only task is to be what it is, a rose. Its work is to unfurl its petals, to turn its face to the light, and to receive. You are this rose, and the infinite abundance of the universe, its love, its joy, its creativity, its wealth is the sun. The sun does not judge, it does not measure. It does not withhold its life-giving light from the flowers it deems undeserving, while shining only on the worthy. It shines upon all, freely, constantly, and without condition. The only thing that can prevent a flower from being bathed in light is if the flower itself refuses to open. The myth of unworthiness is the act of keeping your petals tightly closed, cowering in the shadows, believing the light is not for you. The journey to wealth is not about convincing the sun to shine on you. It is about having the courage to finally, fully open. Where did we learn this devastating lie about ourselves? How was this myth of unworthiness installed so deeply that it feels like truth? The programming began in our earliest years. For many, we were raised in a transactional reality. Our worth was made conditional upon our behavior. Be a good girl and you will get a reward. If you get good grades, mommy will be so proud of you. We learned a tragic equation. My performance equals my value. Love and approval were not a given. They were wages to be earned through obedience and achievement. We internalized this deeply, carrying into adulthood the relentless, exhausting belief that we must constantly do more, be more, and achieve more in order to justify our own existence. This initial programming is then reinforced by the world around us. Society presents us with a constant barrage of metrics by which to measure our worth. Our job title, the size of our bank account, our physical appearance, the number of followers we have. We are compared, contrasted, and ranked from the moment we enter school. We are taught to look outside of ourselves for validation, and we inevitably find ourselves lacking when measured against a curated, impossible standard. This constant external focus solidifies the inner feeling of not enough, the quiet hum of inadequacy that runs beneath all of our striving. We are taught to build our identity upon a foundation of sand, and we wonder why we feel so unstable. This feeling is often given a spiritual justification. Some traditions have used guilt and shame as instruments of control, teaching a doctrine of inherent human flawedness. We are told we are born broken, that our natural desires are sinful, and that we must suppress our humanity to be considered holy. This creates a devastating inner conflict, a war against the self, and cements the belief that we are fundamentally bad and therefore unworthy of the good things life has to offer. We walk through the world with a feeling of deep subconscious guilt, and this guilt acts as a powerful repellent to joy, to ease, and to abundance. This unworthiness virus manifests in countless ways. It is the voice of the imposter syndrome, that nagging feeling that your accomplishments are a fluke and that you are about to be exposed as a fraud. It is the engine of crippling perfectionism, the belief that if you could just perform one flawless task, you might finally feel okay about yourself. It is the reason you deflect a compliment, stammering an excuse rather than simply receiving the gift of another's appreciation. It is the hesitation that stops you from asking for the raise you deserve, the force that makes you undercharge for your valuable services, because deep down, a voice whispers that you're not really worth it. It is what keeps people in toxic relationships and unfulfilling jobs, because on some level, they believe that this is all they deserve. The healing of this wound comes not from adding another layer of achievement on top of it, but from a radical reversal of your entire premise. Your worth is not, and has never been, negotiable. It is not something you earn through your actions. It is something you are, by virtue of your existence. Your worth was sealed, delivered, and made absolute the moment your heart began to beat. That heartbeat is the only certificate of worthiness you will ever need. You are a unique expression of the entire cosmos, a wave in the ocean of life. Does a wave have to earn its right to be wet? Your existence is your permission slip to receive all the good the universe has to offer. The practice of dissolving this myth is a practice of returning to this fundamental truth. It is the practice of the pure statement, I am. Notice, the statement is not, I am worthy. For even that phrase implies that worthiness is a quality you must acquire or possess. The ultimate truth is simpler, just, I am. It is the declaration of existence itself, and existence is the only ticket required for admission to the banquet of abundance. All else is a story. I invite you now to undertake a small healing ritual. Close your eyes, and in your mind's eye, I want you to see yourself as a small child, perhaps 4 or 5 years old. See the innocence in that child's eyes, the pure potential, the unmarred spirit. Now, look at that child. Would you ever tell that beautiful, perfect being that they need to earn your love? Would you tell them they are not enough, that they need to perform for you to be proud of them? Of course not. You would scoop them up in your arms and shower them with unconditional love and acceptance, simply because they exist. That child is still within you, and they are waiting for you to offer them that same unconditional acceptance. Say to that inner child, and to all of yourself, I grant you permission. I grant you permission to receive. I grant you permission to be happy, to be joyful, to be at ease. You do not have to earn it. It is your birthright. You are not on this earth to prove your worth. You are here to express the magnificence that is already within you. The universe is not a critical parent you must please. It is a wildly generous lover, waiting to bestow its gifts upon you. The feeling of unworthiness was the last great shadow, the tightly closed petals of the flower. The conscious acceptance of your own inherent, unconditional, and absolute worth is the act of finally unfurling those petals to the warmth and the light of the sun. You are enough. You have always been enough. You will always be enough. There is nothing left to prove. There is only a splendor to be revealed. Now, open, receive. It is your time. You stand now on the firm ground of your own intrinsic worth. The myth of your inadequacy has been seen for what it is, a phantom, a shadow with no substance. You have opened the petals of your being, ready to receive the light. And so, the question becomes, what is the nature of the light you now send back out? What is the language you must use to communicate your desires to the silent, intelligent fabric of the universe? We are a species enamored with words. We believe in the power of logic, of argument, of perfectly crafted affirmations. We have been taught that the mind is the king, and that to think the right thoughts is the key to creating the right life. But here, we must uncover a deeper truth. The universe is not an intellect. It does not process grammar. It is not persuaded by your logic or your pleading. The universe is a vast, sentient field of energy, and its native tongue is not the language of the mind. Its native tongue is the language of the heart. The language of creation is feeling. To grasp this, imagine you wish for your beloved dog to come to you. You stand with your body rigid, your fists clenched, your energy radiating tension and anger. In a harsh, demanding voice, you shout the words, "Come here, you beautiful, magnificent, wonderful creature." What will the dog do? Will it hear your complimentary words and obey? Number, it will cower, or perhaps run in the opposite direction. The dog does not understand the dictionary definition of your words. It understands the feeling, the energy, the vibration behind them. It feels your anger and your tension, and it responds to that, not to your vocabulary. Now, imagine the opposite. You kneel down, you open your arms wide, your body is relaxed and inviting. You radiate a pure, unconditional feeling of love and excitement, and in a soft, joyful tone, you speak complete nonsense. Flibbity, gibbet, wiggle, waggle. Come on over, you silly sausage. What will the dog do? It will bound towards you with ecstatic joy, its tail wagging, ready to be in your presence. It did not understand your words, but it understood your feeling perfectly. The feeling was a magnetic, irresistible call. The universe is this dog. And for years, many of us have been shouting perfectly constructed affirmations at it, while radiating an energy of desperation, of neediness, of deep-seated fear. We have been saying, "I am abundant," while feeling the painful contraction of lack. We have been saying, "I am at peace," while our entire being is vibrating with anxiety. And then we wonder why the universe seems to ignore our requests, or even to bring us the opposite of what we have asked for. It has not been ignoring you. It has been responding perfectly, not to your words, but to the feeling state from which you have been broadcasting. The secret of creation is not to change your words, but to change your feeling. This brings us to the most crucial distinction in this entire journey: the difference between thinking of your desire and thinking from your desire. To think of your desire is to see it as something separate from you, something in the future, something you are hoping to attain. It is the mindset of the seeker, the wanter, the hoper. When you think of being wealthy, you are implicitly affirming that you are not wealthy now. The feeling associated with this state is one of longing, of incompleteness. And since your feeling is your prayer, you are praying a prayer of incompleteness, and the universe faithfully responds by bringing you more experiences of wanting and not having. To think from your desire is the paradigm shift of the master creator. This is the art of occupying the state of the wish fulfilled. It is to ask yourself the profound question, what would it feel like right now if my desire were already a fact? And then, to allow that feeling to become your present reality. Do not ask how it happened. Do not concern yourself with the details. Simply go to the end. Go to the feeling of the prayer already answered. If you desire financial freedom, what is the feeling at the core of that? Is it a feeling of profound relief? A feeling of safety? A feeling of joyful ease? A feeling of expansive generosity? Identify that core feeling. That feeling is the destination, and the secret is that you can go there in your imagination, right now. I invite you to try this. Close your eyes, let go of the hows and whens. Bring to mind something you truly desire. Now, ask your heart, what is the essential feeling that its fulfillment would give you? Let's say the feeling is one of deep, unshakable peace. Now, use your creative imagination, your spiritual senses, to generate that feeling within your body, right now. What does that peace feel like? Is it a warmth spreading through your chest? Is it a gentle letting go in your shoulders and your jaw? Is it a sense of quiet solidity in your solar plexus? Breathe into that sensation. Allow it to grow. Let it fill every cell of your body. This is not just a thought. This is an experience. You are not thinking about peace. You are inhabiting the state of peace. You are now looking at the world through the eyes of a peaceful person. You are thinking from the state of the wish fulfilled. This is true prayer. Prayer is not begging a distant, external God. Prayer is the art of assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. When you wish to experience love, your prayer is to feel loving. When you wish to experience forgiveness, your prayer is to feel forgiving. When you wish to experience abundance, your prayer is to feel abundant. Your feeling state is the mold into which reality is poured. When you can successfully occupy the feeling of your fulfilled desire, the universe has no choice but to rush to build a world around that feeling, to objectify it in your physical reality. It must. It is the law. Therefore, your work is to become a master of your inner states, a connoisseur of feeling. It is to learn to generate the feelings of your choice, independent of your current circumstances. The circumstances are the old reality, the echo of past feelings. To change the echo, you must change the source of the sound. Your current feeling state is the source. Many people live their lives in reverse. They wait for the world to give them a reason to feel good. They say, when I get the money, then I will feel secure. The Creator knows, when I feel secure, then the money will come. It is a complete reversal of cause and effect as we have been taught. This is the language the universe speaks fluently. It is a language of vibration, of resonance, of feeling. Stop shouting words into the wind. Your mind thinks, but your heart transacts with the cosmos. Your feelings are the bridge between the world of spirit and the world of form. They are the conduits through which the unseen becomes the seen. From this moment on, let your primary practice be the conscious cultivation of the feeling frequently of your choice. When you wake in the morning, do not ask, "What do I have to do today?" Ask, "What do I choose to feel today?" And then find that feeling within you and let it be the keynote for your day. This is how you begin to compose the symphony of your life, note by beautiful note. You are learning to speak the native tongue of creation. It is a language of sublime power, and it has been waiting in your heart all along. You have now been entrusted with the language of the universe, the native tongue of creation, which is feeling. You understand that by consciously generating the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are broadcasting a powerful, coherent signal into the field of all possibility. But then you open your eyes, and you find yourself back in the world. The phone rings with a difficult demand. An unexpected bill arrives in the mail. The news on the screen screams of crisis and lack. The world, with its chaotic, unpredictable energy, will inevitably attempt to knock you out of your carefully cultivated feeling state. It is like tuning a precious instrument to a perfect pitch, only to have someone immediately start banging a drum next to your ear. If your inner state is constantly at the mercy of every external event, you will live a life of reaction, forever being thrown off course. To be a true creator, you must be able to hold your chosen frequency, to protect your inner peace, regardless of the storms that rage outside. You cannot always control the weather, but you can build a strong and beautiful shelter. You need an inner sanctum, a safe harbor, a sacred space within your own consciousness where the noise of the world cannot reach you. A place you can retreat to at any moment to recalibrate, to remember, and to nurture the feeling of your new reality. It is time to build your inner sanctuary. A wise sea captain knows they cannot command the winds to cease or the waves to be still. To stand on the deck in the middle of a hurricane and shout orders at the storm is an act of supreme folly. The storm has its own immense, impersonal power. What then is the captain's strength? It is in the integrity of the ship they have built and in their skill at navigating it. When the storm hits, the wise captain does not fight the waves. They go inside. They retreat to the quiet of the cabin. They secure the hatches. They consult their maps and their compass, and they guide their vessel through the storm, knowing the ship will keep them safe. You are this captain. The world, with all its dramas and demands, is the unpredictable sea. Your feeling state of peace and abundance is your destination, and your inner sanctuary is your ship. The strength of your ship is not determined by the size of the waves, but by the quality of its construction and the frequency of your visits. A well-built sanctuary, visited often, becomes an unshakable fortress of the soul, an inviolable space of peace from which you can navigate any of life's storms with grace and power. We will now build this sanctuary together. It is not built of wood or stone, but of something far more real and durable, your own focused, sensory imagination. The foundation of your sanctuary is the core feeling state you wish to inhabit, the feeling you discovered in our last chapter. Is it a feeling of profound peace, expansive freedom, unshakable security, joyful vibrancy? Take a moment now. Call up that feeling. Let it rise in your chest and spread throughout your body. This feeling is the very ground upon which your sanctuary stands. It is the sacred land upon which you will build your temple. Now, let us begin the construction. I want you to imagine, in your mind's eye, a doorway to this sanctuary. This is your private entrance. What does it look like? Is it a great, ancient door of heavy oak with iron hinges? Is it a simple rustic cottage door painted a welcoming color? Is it a sleek, modern glass door that slides open silently? Or perhaps it is not a door at all, but a shimmering curtain of light, or an archway woven from living, flowering vines. There is no right or wrong answer. There is only what feels most peaceful and inviting to you. See it clearly. Now, reach out and feel the handle. Feel its texture, its temperature. Turn it, push the door open, and with a feeling of profound relief, step inside. As you step across the threshold, you leave the noise and the chaos of the world behind you. You have entered your own sacred space. Take a moment to look around. What do you see? You are the architect here. You can design it however you wish. Perhaps you are in a magnificent, quiet library with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves filled with the wisdom of the ages. A fire crackles warmly in a great stone hearth, and you are seated in a deep, comfortable leather armchair. Or perhaps you have stepped onto a pristine, white sand beach. The water is a perfect shade of turquoise. The sun warms your skin, and you are the only person for miles. Maybe your sanctuary is a serene Japanese garden with a koi pond, the sound of a small waterfall, and raked white sand. Or a futuristic, minimalist space filled with soft, ambient, glowing light. Do not rush. Add the details. See the colors, the textures, the play of light and shadow. Make it the most beautiful, calming, and empowering place you can possibly imagine. Now, engage your other senses. What do you hear within your sanctuary? Is it the gentle lapping of waves on the shore, the crackle and pop of the fire, the sound of wind chimes, or the gentle rustle of leaves in the trees? Perhaps there is music playing, a piece that elevates your soul and brings you to tears with its beauty. Or perhaps what you hear is the most profound and healing sound of all, a deep, resonant silence. A silence that is not empty, but full of peace and potential. You are the conductor of this space. Choose the soundtrack that soothes your soul. What do you smell? Scent is a powerful and direct gateway to our emotional centers. Does your sanctuary smell of old books and cedarwood, of salt air and tropical flowers, of fresh-cut grass and rain-soaked earth? Perhaps it is the scent of lavender, of sandalwood, of your favorite incense. Breathe in this fragrance. Let it signal to your entire nervous system that you are safe, that you are home. And what do you feel physically? Imagine the sensation of a soft, weighted blanket over your lap, the feeling of a plush rug under your bare feet, the warmth of a mug of tea in your hands, the gentle breeze on your skin. Make this place a haven of sensory comfort. Create a space where your body, as well as your mind, can completely and totally relax. Finally, in the center of your sanctuary, I want you to place or create a symbolic object. This object is the anchor of your creative power. It is a physical representation of your wish fulfilled. It could be a radiant, glowing orb of light that pulses with energy. It could be a golden key that unlocks any door. It could be a treasure chest overflowing with gold coins. It could be a beautifully bound book, and when you open it, you see the story of your life, written exactly as you wish it to be. See this object clearly. In your imagination, reach out and touch it. Feel its energy. This object is a constant, silent reminder of your power and of the reality you are creating. Your sanctuary is now built. It is real. It exists within you, and you can access it at any time. The key is to visit it often. Make it a part of your daily practice. Spend 5 minutes there when you wake up to set the tone for your day. Visit it for a few moments before you sleep to bathe your subconscious in the feeling of your fulfilled desire. The more you visit, the stronger the neural pathways become, the more real and accessible it will be. Then, you must learn to use it as your shelter in the storm. The moment you feel a wave of fear, of anger, of doubt, the moment you get that difficult phone call or read that worrying email, do not engage. Do not fight the storm on the open deck. That is a losing battle. Instead, retreat. Take one deep breath, and in your mind, step through the door of your sanctuary. Spend just 30 seconds there. See the light. Hear the silence. Touch your symbolic object. Let the peace of that space wash over you and recalibrate your vibration. Remind yourself of the truth of who you are and what you are creating. Then, when you have recentered yourself, When you have returned to your place of power, you can step back out and deal with the external situation, not from a place of frightened reaction, but from a place of calm, centered, creative authority. This inner sanctuary is your portable kingdom. It is your fortress of solitude. It is the ultimate act of energetic hygiene and radical self-care. It is the creative womb where you protect and nurture the feeling of your new reality until it is so strong, so dominant, so undeniable, that it has no choice but to be born into your physical world. Your sanctuary is built. The key is yours. Visit often. It is from the safety of this sacred inner space that you will begin to notice the world outside starting to change, to send you whispers and signs that it is rearranging itself to match the blueprint you have created within. From the quiet, protected space of your inner sanctuary, a new relationship with the world begins to form. Having learned to speak the language of feeling, you are now broadcasting a clear, consistent, and harmonious signal from the depths of your being. You have planted your seed and released your attachment to the outcome. You are resting in the fertile void, trusting the process. And in this state of faithful surrender, something magical begins to occur. The universe, which may have once seemed silent, random, or even hostile, begins to whisper back. You begin to notice the echoes of your new inner reality appearing in your outer world. This is the phenomenon of synchronicity. These are the first tangible signs that your inner work is bearing fruit. They are the initial ripples on the surface of reality, proving that the stone of your intention has landed in the water. To the uninitiated eye, these events appear as mere coincidences, as lucky breaks or strange chances. But to the one who is learning the language of the cosmos, they are recognized for what they are, a meaningful dialogue. They are winks from the universe, loving affirmations that your signal has been received, and that the grand, unseen mechanism of creation has begun to turn in your favor. To understand how this works, imagine you are standing in a vast concert hall, a space filled with thousands of musical instruments of every kind: harps, violins, cellos, crystal glasses, and tuning forks. The hall is silent. Then, from your place in the center, you take a bow and draw it across the string of a cello, producing one perfect, clear, resonant note. Let us say it is the note of middle C. What happens in that moment? Across the hall, without anyone touching it, the C string on a nearby violin begins to hum in sympathy. A crystal glass on a distant table, one that happens to resonate at the exact frequency of middle C, begins to vibrate, emitting a faint, high-pitched tone. A tuning fork, calibrated to that precise note, starts to tremble. These objects are not responding randomly. They are responding to a law of physics. They are resonating with a frequency that matches their own. You, in your inner sanctuary, by cultivating the feeling of your wish fulfilled, are now consistently playing a new note. You are broadcasting the frequency of peace, of security, of abundance. Synchronicity is the sound of the world around you beginning to hum with your new note. It is the universe, with all its varied instruments, beginning to resonate with the music of your being. These echoes can take many forms, often subtle at first. Pay attention with a sense of playful curiosity. You may experience the information echo. You have been wrestling with a particular problem or question, and you decide to let it go, to release it into the void. Later that day, you are in a coffee shop, and you overhear a conversation between two strangers at the next table. In their casual chat, one of them says a single sentence that contains the perfect, elegant solution to your problem. Or you may browse a bookstore, and a book you have never seen before seems to leap off the shelf. You open it to a random page and your eyes fall upon a paragraph that speaks so directly to your heart, it feels as if it were written just for you. This is not chance. This is resonance. Your state of openness to a solution has attracted the information into your field. You may begin to notice the number echo. You glance at the clock and it is 11:11. You see the number 222 on a license plate and then again on a receipt. You see 444 or 777 appearing in unexpected places. Do not dismiss this as superstition. Think of it as the universe using the simplest, most neutral language possible to get your attention. It is a digital shorthand, a little ping from the cosmos that says, "Yes, we hear you. You are aligned right now. Keep going." It is a confirmation that you are in the flow, in tune with the symphony. Then there is the people echo. You think of an old friend you haven't spoken to in a decade, and that very afternoon, they send you a message out of the blue. You decide that you need to find a mentor with a specific skill set. And a week later, you are introduced to someone at a party who is a world-renowned expert in that exact field. This is evidence that the universe is not just a field of inanimate objects, but a vast, interconnected network of consciousness. As you change your frequency, the human grid around you begins to rearrange itself, bringing to you the very people who are a vibrational match for your new state of being. Most excitingly, you will begin to experience the opportunity echo. As you cultivate the feeling of financial ease in your sanctuary, a friend might call and offer you a small freelance project you weren't expecting. As you marinate in the feeling of being loved, a new person might enter your life who embodies the qualities you have been dreaming of. These are often small at first. They are the universe sending out feelers, testing your capacity to receive. They are the first green shoots pushing up from the seed you have planted. Your job is to greet these echoes with gratitude and openness, which signals to the universe that you are ready for more. How do you interpret these signs without becoming obsessive? The key is to remember that the meaning of a synchronicity is not contained within the symbol itself, the number, the song, the event. The meaning is in the feeling it generates within you. When it happens, do you feel a jolt of recognition, a sudden, thrilling sense of wonder, a deep, quiet feeling of peace and confirmation? That feeling is the message. It is a direct, non-verbal communication from your higher self, affirming that you are on the right path. Do not go hunting for signs. To desperately look for synchronicities is to vibrate at the frequency of the lack of a sign. Instead, your work is to simply maintain your chosen inner state of being. The synchronicities are the byproduct, the inevitable echo of your inner alignment. Let them find you. When they do find you, they create a powerful positive feedback loop of belief. It works like this. You begin with an act of faith, choosing to hold a new feeling, state within you. The universe responds with a small synchronicity, a small piece of external evidence. This evidence then nourishes your faith, making it stronger and easier to hold your chosen feeling state. Your stronger faith then generates bigger, more obvious synchronicities and manifestations. This, in turn, makes your faith unshakable. It is the process of the universe co-creating with you, building a bridge of tangible proof between your inner world and your outer reality. You are moving from a perception of living in a cold, mechanical world to living in a responsive, intelligent, and conversational universe. Life is no longer a monologue where you are shouting requests into an empty void. It is a living dialogue. You send out a feeling, and the universe whispers back. You sing your note, and the world sings with you. Adopt an attitude of wonder. Look at your daily life as a grand, magical treasure hunt. The universe is leaving you clues everywhere, guiding you, affirming you, playing with you. These echoes are not just passive signs for you to observe. They are often invitations. They are gentle nudges, pointing the way toward the next step, the next right action. They are the quiet currents that guide you toward the inspired actions that will make your dream a manifest reality. As you learn to recognize the echoes of synchronicity in your life, the meaningful coincidences, the whispers from the universe, you will inevitably be faced with a critical question. What now? Do I simply sit and observe these signs, or am I meant to do something with them? This is where many seekers stumble, caught in a perceived conflict between the spiritual principle of letting go and the physical reality that seems to demand action. We have been so deeply conditioned to believe that our success is a direct result of our effort, our hustle, our struggle, that the idea of surrender can feel paralyzing. But the formula for a rich life does not ask you to abandon action. It asks you to redefine its source. The universe does not distinguish between being and doing. It distinguishes between the energies from which they spring. Not all actions are created equal. There is a world of difference between an action born of fear and one born of faith. There is desperate action and there is inspired action. To understand the difference, imagine your life is a great river and your desire is a destination somewhere downstream. The river is the natural, benevolent flow of universal energy, always moving you toward your highest good. The desperate person, though they want to go downstream, does not trust the river. They believe they are alone, and the river is an obstacle. So, in their fear and impatience, they begin to row. They row frantically, with a punishing rhythm, their muscles straining, sweat pouring from their brow. They fight the natural eddies and currents, cursing when the river seems to move too slowly. Their entire journey is one of stress, of struggle, of relentless, exhausting effort. They may eventually reach their destination, but they will arrive depleted, burnt out, and convinced that life is, and must always be, a difficult battle. This is desperate action. It is born from a core belief in lack and separation. It is the attempt to force a result from a universe you do not trust. Now, imagine the wise traveler. They have the same desire, the same destination downstream, but they have a different relationship with the river. They trust its current. They see it as their powerful ally. So, instead of grabbing the oars of struggle, they perform a different kind of action. They calmly and deliberately raise a sail. Then, they wait. They rest in a state of peaceful anticipation, tending to their vessel, enjoying the journey, knowing the river is already carrying them forward. They watch the sky and the water, and when they see the wind of opportunity begin to blow, when the synchronicity appears, when the intuitive nudge arises, they simply adjust their sail to catch that wind. The boat then glides forward, swiftly, powerfully, and almost without effort. It moves in perfect harmony with both the current of the river and the power of the wind. This is inspired action. It is born from a core belief in abundance and alignment. It does not create the movement. It gracefully cooperates with a movement that is already underway. You must become a discerning diagnostician of your own actions. You can learn to recognize the source of your impulse to do something by its feeling, its flavor. Desperate action feels heavy. It feels forced. It comes with a sense of anxiety, a knot in your stomach, a tightness in your chest. It is driven by the language of I should, I have to, I must. The motivation behind it is always fear. It is the fear of not having enough money, so you take on a project you hate. It is the fear of being alone, so you force a relationship that doesn't feel right. It is the fear that if you don't act right now, the opportunity will vanish forever. Desperate action is always trying to fix something. It is focused on the problem, on getting away from the negative pole of poverty or loneliness. And because your focus is your creative power, it often just creates more struggle, more burnout, and more of the very thing you are trying to escape. Inspired action feels entirely different. It feels light. It feels joyful, expansive, and often exciting. It doesn't come from a long, agonizing process of pros and cons. It often arrives as a sudden flash of insight, an aha moment in the shower or on a walk. It can also be a quiet, clear, simple knowing in your heart, a feeling that this is the obvious, easy next step. There is no internal struggle, no feeling of forcing yourself. It feels less like work and more like play. The motivation behind inspired action is always trust and alignment. It is a response to the inner pull of your intuition or the outer nudge of a synchronicity. It comes after you have done the inner work, after you have aligned your vibration in your sanctuary. It is the universe tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Okay, I've cleared the path. Now, take this one easy step." Inspired action is not focused on fixing a problem. It is focused on moving toward joy. It is following a trail of energetic breadcrumbs that feel good, and the results it produces are often miraculously out of proportion to the effort involved. It is the small, easy phone call that leads to the biggest contract of your career. It is the whimsical decision to visit a different coffee shop that leads to meeting your soulmate. It is the action that makes you feel that you are being carried by grace. You cannot force inspiration. You cannot schedule an inspired action for 3 o'clock on Tuesday. To do so would be to revert to the mindset of the desperate rower. But you can, and you must, create the conditions in which inspiration can arise. Your primary work is, and always will be, the cultivation of your inner state. Prioritize your alignment above all else. When you are in a state of peace, gratitude, and trust, you are a clear channel. Inspiration can flow to you easily. When you are in a state of fear, worry, and doubt, that channel is clogged with static. The signal cannot get through. From this place of alignment, learn to follow the energy. Pay attention to what genuinely lights you up, what feels interesting and joyful, even if it seems small or unrelated to your big goal. Inspiration rarely delivers a complete, detailed blueprint. It delivers the very next step. It whispers, "Go to that bookstore, watch that documentary, reach out to that old friend." Your job is to trust these gentle nudges and to follow the trail of joy. When you are in a quiet, receptive state, ask the universe a gentle question. What is one small thing I can do today that would be an expression of the abundant, joyful being I am becoming? Then, let it go. Do not hunt for the answer. The answer will come as a thought, a feeling, or an opportunity. This is the great and beautiful dance of creation. It is the integration of being and doing. You are not choosing one over the other. You are learning to let your doing arise naturally and spontaneously from your state of being. Your inner state is the cause. The inspired action is the joyful participation in the effect. So, I invite you to put down the oars of struggle. You do not need them anymore. Your frantic effort has not been the source of your success. It has been the source of your exhaustion. Your new work is to tend to your sail, to keep it clean and ready. Your work is to trust the river. Your work is to watch for the wind. And when that unmistakable feeling of light, joyful and easy inspiration arrives, act on it. Act without hesitation. Act with playfulness. This is the effortless path. This is the way of the master. This is how you learn to move through the world, not as a struggler, but as a living magnet for miracles. You have journeyed deep into the inner world. You have learned to calm the storm, to tune your vibration, to plant your intent, and to trust the flow of the river. You have begun to see the world whisper back to you in the language of synchronicity, and you have learned to distinguish the frantic rowing of desperate action from the graceful unfolding of inspired action. Now, we arrive at a destination that is, in truth, the real beginning. We arrive at the final and most profound shift in perception, the one that moves you from being a student of these laws to a master of your reality. This is the shift from attracting abundance to becoming it. For as long as we have spoken of these things, our language has been one of attraction. We speak of attracting wealth, manifesting success, drawing love to us. But even this language, as useful as it has been, implies a separation. It suggests that abundance is out there and you are over here, and you must learn a technique to pull it across the divide. It positions you as the seeker and wealth as the thing being sought. Today we shatter that illusion. The ultimate secret is this: you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. The goal of this entire journey has not been for you to get something. It has been for you to become someone. The final act is not to chase the miracle, but to become the magnet for miracles. Consider a simple, unmagnetized piece of iron. It can be surrounded by a mountain of iron filings, yet it has no power to influence them. It is inert. It can want the filings, it can affirm that it is magnetic, it can visualize the filings clinging to it, but nothing will happen. The filings remain separate, indifferent. This piece of iron is the person operating from a state of lack, of trying, of seeking. Now, imagine we take that same piece of iron and we subject it to a powerful magnetic field. This field aligns all the tiny, chaotic molecular domains within the iron, causing them to point in a single, coherent direction. This alignment process is a perfect metaphor for the inner work you have been doing, aligning your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, and your actions into one harmonious, undivided state of being. What happens when the process is complete? The piece of iron is no longer the same. It has undergone a fundamental internal transformation. It is now a magnet. It does not need to try to attract the iron filings. It does not need to do anything. It simply is. Its new state of being generates an invisible but powerful field around it. And by its very nature, by the law of its own being, this field effortlessly draws the iron filings to it. They leap across the space and cling to it. The magnet does not chase, it draws. It does not struggle, it allows. Its power is not in its actions, but in its very essence. Your work has not been about learning a new way to chase wealth. Your work has been this sacred process of magnetizing your own consciousness. When you are fully and truly magnetized with the energy of abundance, you no longer have to hunt for opportunities. You no longer have to struggle for your supply. You become the center of your own gravitational field, and the people, the resources, the ideas, and the money that are in harmony with your new being are drawn into your orbit, naturally and without effort. This is more than a change in mindset. It is a change in your very identity. It is the shift from saying, "I am a person who is trying to become abundant," to knowing, in your bones, "I am abundance." It is no longer an affirmation you repeat. It is the core assumption from which you perceive the world. This transformation occurs on a cellular level. For years, your body may have been marinated in the neurochemistry of lack, the stress hormones of cortisol and adrenaline that come from fear and worry. Your cells learned the language of contraction and anxiety. Through your dedicated inner work, you have been teaching your body a new language. You have been acquainting it with the chemistry of abundance, the serotonin of satisfaction, the dopamine of joyful anticipation, the oxytocin of trust and connection. Your body literally learns to feel abundant as its natural baseline state. This inner shift also recalibrates the powerful filtering system in your brain, known as the reticular activating system. This system is like a search engine for your reality. When your identity was, "I am a person who struggles," your brain was programmed to be on high alert for any and all evidence that confirmed this belief. It diligently pointed out every problem, every scarcity, every obstacle. Now, having shifted your identity to "I am a vessel of abundance," this system receives a new command. It recalibrates its search parameters, and it begins to point out all the evidence of abundance, opportunity, and generosity that was present in your field all along, but was previously invisible to your conditioned perception. You do not see a new world. You see the same world with new eyes. What does it feel like to live as this magnet? You become radically generous, operating from the core, knowing of more than enough. You give freely of your time, your wisdom, and your resources. You are not giving to get. You are giving because it is the natural overflow of your own fullness. You become an open, joyous channel for the universe's circulation. You also become joyfully unattached to specific outcomes. You take inspired action because it feels good, but you release the need for it to turn out a certain way. Your peace and happiness are generated from within. They are not held hostage by external results. This non-needy, trusting energy is paradoxically the most powerfully attractive force there is. You begin to see wealth everywhere, not just in your bank account, but in the richness of a sunset, the unconditional love of a pet, the brilliance of a new idea, the vitality in your own body. This constant acknowledgement of the abundance that already exists amplifies your magnetic field exponentially, and you begin to move through the world with a quiet, unshakable confidence. The frantic hustle disappears, replaced by a calm, centered, powerful presence that people are naturally drawn to. You trust yourself because you trust the universe that flows through you. From this state of being, miracles become your new normal. A miracle, in this context, is not the violation of a natural law. It is the activation of a higher natural law. An event that seems impossible from the consciousness of the unmagnetized iron is the natural, logical, and expected result from the consciousness of the magnet. The dream job you never applied for finds you. The perfect client appears out of nowhere. An old debt is forgiven in an unexpected way. An idea that comes to you in a dream generates a fortune. These are not lucky breaks. These are not random acts of grace. These are the iron filings of reality, aligning perfectly with the powerful, coherent magnetic field you have so diligently cultivated within yourself. And so we come to the final, liberating truth. You must stop thinking of yourself as the seeker. The identity of seeker, by its very definition, ensures you will never find, for its core assumption is one of lack. The journey has been a circle, leading you back to the truth of who you have always been. You are not the one looking for the treasure. You are the treasure. You are not the one trying to attract abundance. You are the abundance that the world is trying to experience through you. When you fully, finally, and unconditionally accept this as your identity, the great chase ends. The struggle dissolves. You stand still in your own magnificent, magnetized power, and you simply allow the universe to bring you the reflections of the glory that you have finally claimed within. You have now fully stepped into the identity of the magnet. You understand that your state of being is the creative force that draws your reality to you. And yet, one final, persistent question may linger in the human mind, a question born of our deepest conditioning. How long will it take? We want a timeline. We want a guarantee. We want to know when our ship will come in. This very question, as natural as it seems, is rooted in the final great illusion we must now dissolve, the illusion of linear time. We perceive our lives as a straight line, an unalterable railway track stretching from a fixed and solid past through the fleeting moment of the present and into a distant, unseen future. We see ourselves as passengers on this track, moving inexorably forward, hoping that the scenery will eventually improve. But what if this perception is fundamentally flawed? What if time is not a rigid container you are moving through, but a malleable dimension of your own consciousness? What if the future you desire is not a distant city you are traveling toward, but one of 1,000 parallel cities that already exists, right now, and you possess the ability to shift your location to it instantly? This is the profound art of collapsing time. To understand this, you must first recognize the power of your own imagination as a fully functioning time machine. Let us travel to the past. Bring to mind a vivid, joyful memory. Do not simply think about it. I want you to step into it. Use all your senses. See what you saw then, the colors, the light. Hear the sounds you heard, the voices, the music. Most importantly, Allow yourself to feel, in your body, the exact emotion you felt in that moment. That swell of joy, that deep feeling of love, that sense of pure delight. If you immerse yourself fully, a strange thing happens. For that moment, you are not in your present, remembering the past. Your consciousness is in the past. You have used your imagination to travel through time. You have proven that your consciousness is not bound by the present moment. Now, if you can so easily travel to the past, why can you not travel to the future? The secret is that the future is not an empty void waiting to be created. In the infinite field of quantum possibility, all potential futures exist simultaneously, now. There is a reality where you are still struggling. There is a reality where you are living in the magnificent abundance you desire. They are like parallel tracks, all running alongside each other. The act of creation is not about building a new track. It is about learning how to switch from the track you are on to the track you prefer. Your emotional state, your feeling, is the switch. When you use your imagination to fully assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are not just pretending. You are performing an act of vibrational time travel. You are consciously tuning your awareness to the frequency of that desired parallel reality. You are, for a moment, living on that track. The more you can visit this reality in your imagination, the more you can feel it and believe it and know it as real, the more you begin to draw that parallel reality into your physical sensory world. You are pulling it from the realm of future potential into the realm of present experience. The time it takes for a desire to manifest physically is therefore not a fixed period. It is a measure of the interval between your first assumption of the feeling and your complete, unwavering embodiment of that feeling. To the degree that you can feel it as real now, you collapse the time it takes to experience it. This idea is not new. It is echoed in both modern physics and ancient mysticism. Some physicists theorize a block universe where the past, present, and future all exist simultaneously as a single, four-dimensional object. And our consciousness simply illuminates one frame at a time, creating the illusion of passage. The great mystics have taught for eons that the only time that truly exists is the eternal now. The past is nothing more than a memory trace being experienced in the now. The future is nothing more than a creative projection being imagined in the now. By changing your state of being in this all-powerful now, you fundamentally alter both the meaning of your past and the trajectory of your future. Your subconscious mind, the great engine of your reality, operates entirely in this eternal now. It does not understand tomorrow or next year. It only understands what is being impressed upon it as a fact right now. When you repeatedly saturate it with the feeling of your wish already fulfilled, it accepts this as your present reality, and it immediately goes to work to orchestrate your perceptions, your behavior, your health, and the events of your life to match this new, accepted truth. What then stretches time out? What creates the long, agonizing waiting periods? It is our inability to remain faithful to our unseen reality. It is the habit of watching the pot, of constantly looking to the outside world for proof. Every time you ask, "Is it here yet?" you are taking out your energetic shovel and digging up the seed. You are reaffirming its absence, and in doing so, you are pushing it further away into the distant future. Impatience is a powerful prayer for delay. It is a vibrational statement of doubt. It is a scream to the universe, "I don't believe this is working." And the universe, always faithful to your dominant vibration, agrees and provides you with more experiences of waiting. The most common way we stretch time is by living from our current circumstances instead of from our imagination. You look at your bank statement and feel the feeling of lack. You look at your body and feel the feeling of sickness. You look at your relationships and feel the feeling of loneliness. When you allow your current, temporary, three-dimensional reality which is only an echo of your past feelings to dictate your present feeling, you are simply projecting that same old reality into your future. You are choosing to stay on the same railroad track. To collapse time, you must perform the audacious act of maintaining your chosen inner state of abundance, regardless of what your senses are telling you. You must be more loyal to the feeling of your future than you are to the facts of your present. The practice, then, is one of supreme mental and emotional discipline. It is a mental diet where you consciously refuse to entertain thoughts and feelings that contradict your fulfilled desire. When a thought of lack arises, you do not fight it. You simply let it pass, and you gently, lovingly return your attention to the feeling of your wish fulfilled in your inner sanctuary. You practice the art of looking at your desire in your imagination and saying to yourself, "Isn't it wonderful?" This phrase, spoken as if the event is already a cherished memory, generates the powerful feeling of gratitude and naturalness. You can write journal entries from your future self, describing your perfect day, solidifying the experience in your mind. And you begin to act in small ways as the person who you would be if your dream were already true. You make decisions based on the assumption of abundance, not from the fear of lack. Ultimately, you must understand that time is not your master. It is a canvas. It is a dimension of your own consciousness that you can learn to bend and shape. The question, how long, is a symptom of disbelief. When you truly succeed in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the question of time becomes irrelevant, because in that moment, you are already experiencing the emotional reality of what you desire. The physical manifestation is simply the cherry on the top, the natural, inevitable echo in the world of form. You are not waiting for a future event. You are a time traveler, pulling a future probability into your living, breathing, present experience through the magnetic power of your embodied feeling. This is the zenith of your creative power. It is the moment you step fully into your sovereignty, not as a creature of time, but as its creator. You have begun to master the inner technologies of creation. You have learned to command your feeling state, to bend time with your imagination, and to magnetize your very being to the frequency of your desires. You stand now as a potent creator, capable of drawing forth a reality of abundance and grace. A question of profound significance now emerges from this new plateau of power. It is the question that moves you beyond personal gain and into the realm of purpose. For what reason do you cultivate this power? What is the ultimate legacy of a life lived from this state of enlightened awareness? Our world has a very small and fragile answer to this question. It defines inheritance almost exclusively in material terms. A legacy is seen as the money you leave in a trust, the property you bequeath, the company you pass down. We are taught to work our entire lives to accumulate a pile of assets, which we then hand to the next generation. But this is the smallest part of the story. The truest, most powerful, and most enduring inheritance you can ever leave behind has nothing to do with what is in your bank account. It is the consciousness you cultivated. It is the frequency you held. This is the true inheritance. To understand this, let us imagine two gardeners, each wishing to leave a legacy for their children. The first gardener is skilled in a conventional way. He works tirelessly, year after year, to create a stunningly beautiful garden. He plants the most vibrant annual flowers, arranges them in breathtaking patterns of color, and keeps the garden meticulously manicured. When he passes, he leaves this magnificent garden to his children. They inherit the result, the beautiful effect. But the gardener never taught his children about the nature of soil, the importance of water, the secrets of the seeds, or the rhythm of the seasons. And so, when the seasons inevitably change, the annual flowers wither and die. The children, possessing the result but not the consciousness that created it, are left standing in a barren plot of land, not knowing how to bring the beauty back. This is the legacy of money without the consciousness of abundance. It is a snapshot, a temporary effect. It is a fortune that is often squandered within a generation because the frequency that created it was not passed down. Now consider the second gardener, the wise gardener. This gardener is less concerned with the temporary arrangement of flowers and far more concerned with the vitality of the soil itself. Their life's work is to enrich the earth, to create deep, dark, fertile soil, teeming with life and potential. They teach their children everything they know. They walk them through the garden, explaining how to listen to the land, how to compost, how to save seeds, how to work in harmony with the sun and the rain. When this gardener passes, they may not leave behind a perfectly manicured garden, but they leave something infinitely more valuable, a plot of land so fertile, so alive, that the children can grow anything they can imagine. They can grow roses, or food to feed the village, or mighty oaks that will stand for centuries. This is the true inheritance. It is not a static result. It is a living, generative capacity. It is the consciousness of creation itself. When you undertake this deep inner work, you are becoming this wise gardener. You are enriching the very soil of your lineage. This is not a mere metaphor. It is an energetic reality. The emotional atmosphere you cultivate becomes the blueprint for those who come after you. If you transform your inner state from one of anxiety and lack to one of profound peace and trust, you create a home environment, a presence, where peace and trust feel normal. Your children or those close to you absorb this frequency not through your words, but through osmosis. They learn the feeling of abundance as their native tongue because you made it the air they breathe. Furthermore, in healing your own limiting beliefs, your own ancient pacts of poverty, you are breaking a chain of ancestral trauma. The feeling of not enough, the fear of scarcity, these are often not just yours. They are energetic patterns passed down through generations. When you, through your conscious work, finally dissolve these patterns within yourself, you are performing a profound act of healing for your entire family line, both past and future. You are clearing the weeds from the generational soil so that your descendants will not have to struggle with the same thorns that you did. You are offering them a clean slate, a fertile ground, a legacy of freedom. This work also elevates the entire energetic field of your family or community. The scientific concept of a morphogenetic field suggests that groups share a collective field of memory and habit. By raising your own level of consciousness, by anchoring a frequency of unconditional love and abundance, you are literally upgrading the data in that shared field. You make it easier for everyone connected to you to access these higher states. Your inner peace does not just belong to you, it ripples out and pacifies the world around you. Your inner abundance does not just enrich you, it creates opportunities and inspiration for others. You are the tide that lifts all the boats in your harbor. This is the new definition of generational wealth. The old paradigm defines it as a finite pile of assets to be protected and divided. This often comes with a heavy energy of fear, fear of losing it, fear of it being squandered, fear of the responsibility it entails. The new paradigm defines generational wealth as an infinite generative consciousness. It is the embodied knowing of how to create value, peace, and joy from the inside out. It is not a static pile of money, it is the source of money. It cannot be squandered, for it is not a thing, but a state of being. And it does not bring burden, but liberation. When this consciousness is your primary legacy, any material wealth that accompanies it becomes a tool for joyful expression, not a source of fear. The children of the wise gardener are not burdened by the flowers, they are empowered by the soil. How then do you consciously live this legacy, starting now? First, you must embody, not preach. Those around you will learn little from your lectures on abundance. They will learn everything from watching you embody a quiet, unshakable peace in the face of a challenge. They will learn from the generosity that flows from you when you operate from a place of fullness. Your serene presence is the most powerful sermon you will ever give. It is the living demonstration of your true inheritance. Second, you must consciously create a resonant environment. Let your home be a physical extension of your inner sanctuary. Fill it not just with beautiful things, but with the energy of love, of peace, of laughter, of creativity. Make it a space where others feel safe, seen, and uplifted. This creates an energetic incubator, a training ground where those you love can experience and acclimate to the higher frequencies you now hold. Finally, you must actively bless your lineage. When you think of your children, or your children's children, bless them not with the hope of material riches, but with the transmission of this sacred understanding. In your meditations, see them as wise gardeners in their own right, empowered with the fertile soil you have prepared for them. And send a wave of gratitude backwards through time to your ancestors. Thank them for their struggles, for their survival, for every step that led to the moment of your own awakening. In doing so, you become a conscious healer, standing in the present moment as a bridge between a healed past and an empowered future. This is the ultimate wealth. The assets you accumulate will one day be spent or turned to dust. The reputation you build will fade. But the consciousness you cultivate, the love you embody, the peace you anchor on this planet is an immortal echo. It is a gift that will continue to ripple outward through time in ways you can scarcely imagine. It is the legacy of one who knew that the greatest thing to leave behind is not a map to a hidden treasure, but the living, breathing realization that you are the treasure and the field in which it is found. You have walked a long and winding path inward. You began as a weary traveler, running on a gilded wheel, chasing a horizon that always receded. You have passed through the silent halls of your own mind, learning the secrets of stillness, of vibration, of gratitude. You have cleared the soil of your subconscious, rewriting the ancient, inherited pacts of poverty. You have learned to aim the arrow of your intent, to release it with faith, and to rest in the fertile void as it finds its mark. You now understand that you are a magnet, that the universe whispers back to you in the language of synchronicity, and that your true inheritance is not a thing to be acquired, but a consciousness to be embodied. We have come to the final stage of this journey of becoming. It is time to move beyond being a mere practitioner of these laws. It is time for you to take your rightful place on the throne of your own life. It is time to live as the sovereign self. For your entire life, you may have perceived yourself as a piece on a grand chessboard, a board you believed was controlled by forces outside of your self-fate, luck, circumstance, God, or other people. At your most powerless, you felt like a pawn with limited moves, often sacrificed for the plans of a greater power. Your life was something that happened to you. As you gained some wisdom and success, you may have graduated to feeling like a more powerful peace knight, a bishop, perhaps even a king or queen. You had more freedom, more influence, but you were still a piece on the board, subject to the rules of the game, reacting to the moves of others, confined by the 64 squares of conventional reality. The final and most profound awakening is the realization that you are not, and have never been, a piece on the board. The true you, the core of your awareness, is the player. It is the silent, conscious, intelligent presence that is moving all the pieces. The circumstances of your life, the money, the relationships, the job, the home, these are the pieces. The so-called rules of reality are simply the principles of the game. The player is not subject to the rules. The player uses the rules, skillfully and wisely, to bring about a desired outcome. The player is not a victim of the game. The player is the creative intelligence directing the game. To live as the sovereign self is to step off the board entirely, to take your seat in the chair of the player, and to consciously, deliberately, and lovingly command the pieces of your life into a new and beautiful arrangement. To claim this throne is to accept both the rights and the profound responsibilities of sovereignty. A sovereign does not wish or hope. A sovereign decrees. Your clear, undivided intentions are your royal decrees. You no longer approach the universe as a beggar pleading for scraps. You stand in your full authority as a co-creator with life, and from a place of love and certainty, you decree your reality into being. I decree peace in my kingdom. I decree abundant prosperity for my realm. I decree vibrant health and wholeness for this body. These are not arrogant demands. They are statements of fact issued from the highest authority in your personal universe, your own I Am consciousness. A wise sovereign also understands that they must abide by the laws of their own kingdom. You cannot decree one reality while living by the laws of another. You now understand the fundamental laws of your own being, the law of vibration, the law of cause and effect, the law that feeling is the secret. You do not try to cheat these laws, you align yourself with them. You know that you cannot decree abundance while continuing to vibrate with the energy of lack. That would be an unlawful decree, a contradiction in terms, and it will not be made manifest. To rule your kingdom, you must first master yourself. This is the greatest responsibility of the sovereign self. You are 100% responsible for the state of your inner realm. The time for blaming external events for your internal feelings is over. You can no longer afford the luxury of being a victim. The thoughts you entertain, the emotions you cultivate, the beliefs you choose to uphold, this is your dominion. You must rule it with a firm but loving hand. You must act as the vigilant guardian of your own mind, refusing entry to the thoughts of fear and doubt that would seek to create discord in your kingdom. Your inner world is not a democracy where every thought gets an equal vote. It is a sovereign monarchy, and you sit on the throne. You decide what is true, what is real, and what is permitted within the borders of your own awareness. True sovereignty is never arrogant or tyrannical. It is benevolent. A true king or queen rules with a loving heart, understanding that the well-being of their kingdom contributes to the well-being of the entire cosmos. You create abundance for yourself, not merely for personal gain, but so you can become a greater source of light, of generosity, of solutions for the world. You cultivate peace within yourself so that your very presence becomes a pacifying influence on those around you. Your benevolent sovereignty is a gift to all of humanity. How does a sovereign move through the world? They do not ask for permission. They stop looking outside of themselves for validation or approval. They know that their worth and their power are innate, and they grant themselves permission to be, to do, and to have what they desire. They are unmoved by the opinions of others. Like a wise monarch listening to the varied gossip of the marketplace, they can hear the doubts and fears of the world without being swayed by them. Their certainty comes from within their own center, their own throne room. They are anchored in their own authority. A sovereign does not complain. To complain about your circumstances is to declare that you are a powerless victim of them. It is the language of the pawn. If there is a condition in your kingdom that is not to your liking, you do not whine about it. You turn your attention inward. You withdraw the energy and belief that is creating it, and you issue a new, firm, and loving decree for what you choose to experience instead. You take full and joyous ownership of your reality, and a sovereign rests in their power. They are not frantic, busy, or stressed. They know that their creative power is not in their frantic doing, but in the clarity of their being and the authority of their command. They act, but their actions are deliberate, purposeful, and inspired, flowing from a place of deep inner stillness and certainty. This is the identity you are now invited to fully inhabit. The journey inward was the path to the throne room that has always existed at the center of your being. The crown of sovereignty was never withheld from you. It has been sitting there, waiting for you to claim it. No one else can place it upon your head. The act of coronation is a private, sacred, inner moment of final acceptance. It is the acceptance of your own divine nature, your own creative power, and your own profound responsibility. The game of seeking is over. The time for ruling has begun. Step off the board. Take your seat upon the throne of your own awareness. The scepter of your intention is in your hand. The kingdom of your experience awaits your command. Rule well. You have walked the path of the sovereign, claiming the throne of your own awareness and accepting the profound responsibility that comes with it. You have stood at the precipice of your own infinite power, ready to command your reality. We have journeyed through 19 distinct stages of understanding, 19 gateways of perception, and now we arrive at the 20th, the final chamber. It is here that the entire journey reveals itself to be a circle. It is here that the complex formula you have been seeking dissolves into a truth so simple, so immediate, and so close to you that it has been overlooked this entire time. It is time to unveil the ultimate secret. The formula is you. Think of a single magnificent wave rising from the surface of the sea. It has its own unique shape, its own power, its own lifespan. It sees itself as a separate entity, observing the other waves, the sky, the distant shore. This wave, in its experience of separation, becomes a seeker. It hears legends of a vast, eternal, all-powerful consciousness called the ocean. It is told that the ocean is the source of all life, the cradle of all power, the epitome of abundance. And the wave begins to yearn for this ocean. It develops a spiritual longing. If only I could find the ocean, it thinks, then I would be safe. Then I would be powerful. Then I would be free from my fear of crashing upon the shore, which I believe to be my end. And so, the wave begins its search. It performs rituals. It prays to attract the ocean. It asks the other waves, "Have you seen the ocean? Can you tell me the way?" It seeks a secret formula, a hidden map that will lead it to this great mysterious source. It spends its entire existence striving, seeking, and searching for the very thing that it is. The great cosmic and beautiful joke is that the wave was never, for a single moment, separate from the ocean. Its very substance, the water that gives it form and life, is the ocean. Its search was based on a fundamental illusion, a misunderstanding of its own nature. It was looking for itself. You have been this wave. You have been searching for the great ocean of abundance, of universal intelligence, of God. You have been seeking a formula, a 3000-year-old secret, believing it was something outside of you, a treasure to be found. And this journey through these 20 stages has been designed to do one thing and one thing only: to help you realize that the very consciousness with which you are seeking is the treasure you have been seeking. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a single drop. Let us look back on our journey through the lens of this final truth. We spoke of finding stillness in the mind. This was not a technique to get answers from an external source. It was the act of the wave calming its turbulent surface so it could sense the silent, immeasurable depth of the entire ocean that it is. We spoke of changing your vibration. This was not about altering your frequency to attract something separate from you. It was the act of the wave ceasing to identify with its own chaotic motion and remembering the deep, constant, harmonious frequency of the ocean itself. We spoke of letting go. This was the wave ceasing its individual, frantic struggle and surrendering to the wise, powerful, and benevolent currents of the ocean that were always carrying it. We spoke of becoming a sovereign. This was the wave finally realizing that it is not just a part of the ocean, but a full and complete expression of the entire power of the ocean, right here and right now. Every step, Every technique, every metaphor has been a pointer, a finger pointing back to the moon of your own being. The formula was never a series of steps to follow in order to achieve a result. It was a series of reminders designed to awaken you from the dream of separation. It was not a recipe to bake a cake. It was a mirror held up to you to help you remember that you were the baker, the flour, the sugar, and the fire all along. The formula for creating wealth is to realize that you are the source of wealth. The formula for finding love is to realize you are the source of love. The formula for experiencing peace is to realize you are the embodiment of peace. There is nowhere to go, nothing to get, nothing to achieve. There is only a truth to be realized. This ultimate truth can be distilled into the two most powerful words ever uttered in any language: I am. These two words are the name of God. They are the name of pure, unconditioned consciousness. They are the sound of the ocean itself. They are the name of the uncarved block of marble before the sculptor begins. I am is pure being, pure potentiality, already whole, already complete, already infinitely abundant. The tragedy and the power of human existence is that we have been given absolute authority over what follows those two words. We have been made the sovereigns of our own self-definition. When you say unconsciously or consciously, I am poor, you are taking the infinite potential of I am and commanding it to express itself through the narrow, constricting costume of poverty. When you say, I am sick, I am lonely, I am a failure, you are issuing a divine decree for the limitless ocean to experience itself as a small, suffering, broken wave. The universe does not argue. It simply and faithfully obeys the name you give yourself. The secret to a rich life, therefore, is not to endlessly search for more and more positive words to add after I am. It is to learn to rest in the silent, profound power of I am itself before any definition is added. To feel the truth of your own being, pure and simple. To know yourself as the consciousness in which all experiences arise and fall. This is the state of true abundance, because in pure being, nothing is lacking. From this place of inherent fullness, you can then joyfully choose to play. You can choose to say, I am wealthy, not as a desperate attempt to become wealthy, but as a playful and truthful expression of the infinite potential that you already are. It is a declaration, not a request. This realization marks the end of all spiritual seeking. The search is over. You do not need the next book, the next teacher, the next workshop. You have found the final answer, the ultimate guru, the most sacred temple. It is the silent, aware space of your own consciousness. To live from this realization is to approach life no longer as a test to be passed or a problem to be solved, but as a grand canvas upon which you, the master artist, can joyfully express your being. It is to know that your security does not come from your bank account, but from the unshakable truth that you are the source of all supply. It is to know that your peace does not come from your circumstances, but from the deep, quiet center of the ocean that is your true home. So we have come full circle. The 3,000-year-old secret was never hidden in a scroll or locked in a vault. It has been hiding in plain sight, closer to you than your own breath. The rich man's formula is not a set of instructions on how to acquire the most. The truly rich man is the one who has realized that there is nothing to acquire, for he is, and always has been, the source of all. The formula is not something you have learned. It is something you have remembered. The formula is you. Welcome home. And so we breathe. We return from the vast inner landscapes of consciousness to the simple, sacred space of this present moment. The journey is complete, not because a destination has been reached, but because the truth has been realized. The path did not lead you to a treasure chest hidden in a faraway land. The path was a circle, designed only to lead you back to the profound and simple truth of yourself. You began this journey seeking a formula for wealth, believing it was a secret held outside of you. Now you know there is no secret, there is no formula. There is only the remembrance of what you have always been. Let the striving cease. Let the frantic search for answers come to a gentle end. You are not the seeker of the treasure. You are the treasure itself, and you are the entire field in which that treasure is found. For years, you may have been digging in the dirt with all your might, looking for a buried chest of gold, not realizing that the ground beneath your feet, the air you breathe, and the very hands that are digging are all made of that same luminous gold. Your work is not to dig anymore. Your work is to simply stand up, to brush the dust from your knees, and to finally see the radiant magnificence of what you are and what you have always been. There is nothing to prove. There is nothing to earn. The universe is not a test to be passed, but a playground to be enjoyed. The sun does not demand worthiness from the flower before it shines, and the ocean of abundance does not demand a reason before it offers its waves. Your only work from this day forward is to keep the petals of your heart open, to rest in the knowing of your own innate, unshakable worth, to allow the good that is yours by birthright to flow to you and through you with ease and with grace. Carry this feeling with you. Let it be the quiet hum beneath all your doing. When the world feels loud, retreat to the silence of your inner sanctuary. When you feel the old shadows of doubt or lack, remember the feeling of the sun on your face, and know that you are the flower, deserving of all warmth. Let the truth of your own being be your final comfort, your ultimate security, and your greatest wealth. Breathe in this truth. Let it settle in your bones. I am wealth. I am abundance. I am. Rest now. Rest in the glorious truth of who you are. There is nothing more to learn. There is only a life to be lived, from this place of peace, from this place of power, from this place of love. I am.